Hey everyone, and welcome to Living by the Law, the podcast discussing fictional worlds and how wondrous and ridiculous they are. My name is Matt, and I am joined by my co-hosts, Jude and Guy.
If you'd wish to sponsor us, find the juiciest piece of meat you can find. Cook it medium rare and make sure you get all those juices when you eat it. Don't miss a drop. If you feel your soul restored, have Pablo write your sponsored message to us. You know which Pablo I mean. You know. We will hear you. We always do.
This episode, we attempt and fail in many ways to take on the Call of Duty Zombies timeline, a convoluted mess of MacGuffins, magic, and walnut delivery. We'll get to it. Heads up, this episode contains spoilers for the lore of all games and comics in the Call of Duty Zombies series. Not that fucking matters much. Who cares about the lore in these? Why are we doing this episode?
I think the way someone makes their toasted sandwich tells you a lot about them.
I mean, toasted sandwich is an important thing to figure out. What's got you particularly on this train?
Well, we were talking before as I was eating my one, and it's the different way that someone makes their sandwich. Because you get people that they get like their jaffle maker, they cut off some shitty cheese, or like the pre-sliced cheese.
A jaffle maker. Hey, does Matthew Doyle not know the description of a jaffle
maker?
A jaffle, dear Matthew, is a square toasted sandwich with the side sort of crimped a little bit.
Yeah.
The way that it's designed
it's
is
the toasty machine.
Just a toasty machine.
Yeah,
no,
but they're called jaffles.
Not quite. There is a difference because you can get toasty machines like the one I have, which are just two hot plates that squish together.
Yeah, that's
whereas
a hot.
jaffle make.
That's just a toasty machine, and that's a toast. Okay.
But a jaffle like crimps the edges in, so that way you can like fill it with hot cheese and stuff, and it turns into like a pocket.
Then I have a jaffle maker in my flat.
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
and there's nothing with that. But you get the people that they get their jaffle maker, they get 2 bits of bread, they get a pre-sliced piece of cheese from like the burger packets, drop it in there, done, no effort. And then you've got like the other end of the spectrum where you've got like they carefully slice the cheese, put it under the grill, add some extra special salt, maybe put some sauces in there.
Do you pre-grill your cheese?
Let me finish, Matthew.
Excuse me, the master is talking.
I'm concerned for you.
Excuse me.
Pre-grill your cheese
no,
sandwich.
I have to use the oven grill to make toasted sandwiches because my toasty machine exploded and we haven't got another one. So.
What? It
It
exploded?
uses an oven.
Yeah,
to make a toasty.
straight up. I plugged it in, turned it on, and sparks flew across the kitchen counter. Like it died. And this was during COVID, so we went like and it was during the hard lockdowns. We couldn't go out to buy a new one.
What?
So we got into the habit of just using the oven, and then I was like, you know what, oven grilled sandwiches, they're pretty good. They're pretty
tasty.
Just that little bit better.
I remember my nana always used to make them
yeah.
for me. Like oven grilled ones.
Yeah. And then you've got the kind of people where they'll get like their special sauce, their special salt, then they'll get like before they put the sandwich together, they'll add like some lettuce in there, some other bits.
Hey, no, what the
That's
fuck?
like
You're not putting
top
lettuce
tier.
in a toasted sandwich. That turns
No,
into a
no,
wet
no.
rag.
I don't do that.
You add lettuce at the end.
You grill it under the oven, and
Okay.
grill it under the oven grill, and then before you put the 2 bits of bread together, you slide some lettuce in, maybe
Yes.
a tomato, and then you slap it on top.
Okay, acceptable.
Yeah. It's like the gourmet shit,
See,
you
I'm a
know?
bit weird. I like mayonnaise in my toasty.
That's
not
fair.
weird.
No, that's
I
not weird.
tell you
And,
what- I
you
tell you
have
what-
But I cook the mayonnaise.
Yeah,
Like,
you put the
I
mayonnaise
it
on the
in-
outside. It gives it a
Yeah,
golden
yeah.
grill. Yeah. That's a real
I'm not
toasty
weird
tip.
then. Apparently, according to my flatmates, I'm weird. But
No,
I-
because
I'm
Gemma
not
introduced my girlfriend introduced me to that. Like it's
cool.
Yeah. No, the other one is that I very much enjoyed is I had a cheese, pickle and mustard toasted sandwich. That's a tasty grill.
I tell you the one that I put in there as well, just on top of the cheese. And you then put it under the grill, and it's just Worcestershire sauce.
I'm not a fan of. I never jizz to Worcestershire sauce, but Mum puts it on fucking everything.
Oh yeah, it's some people.
When
man into it.
mum occasionally celebrates her time when she's alone because Dad sometimes will work very late. So what she'll do is she'll get a thing of sardines, and I think she cooks like an egg, and she cooks it specifically in the microwave, mashes it up into like a paste, puts it across the bread, toasts that, and then puts Worcestershire sauce on it. That's her dinner when no one else is home. Because it is a sin against God but
That
she
is
loves
a
it.
sin.
But she
I'll tell
likes
you
it.
My dad's sin is he gets cheese, he gets like a toasted cheese sandwich, puts it under the grill so the cheese melts, doesn't put it together. He keeps the 2 bits of bread like that with the melted cheese on top, and then he puts pineapple on it.
Oh.
He had cheese and pineapple
Oh.
on toast.
I assume he's trying to create some sort of curse, trying to hex you in some way.
It's like the punishment where if Mum and I leave him alone, he's not going to bother making a proper dinner because I'm not in and Mum's not around to make him anything. So he'll just do cheese and pineapple on toast, and it's dangerous.
Speaking of hexing, people wanting to create hexes and curses when they're left alone.
Matthew
That's the
Doyle,
worst,
ladies
sorry.
and gentlemen. Matthew Doyle.
Yeah.
Hexes, curses,
here.
look at him.
I'm basically just a walking, living curse.
You are
how
a
it's gonna
walking.
describe myself.
You're a walking blight on us, I think, is the correct way of saying
Yeah,
it.
pretty much, and
Yeah.
society as a whole, pretty much.
Yeah.
At least
You just
he
got-
accepts
he
it.
just got-
Before we get into the episode, I'd like to report another food crime on this.
God.
While we're on the subject, we're reporting them. My flatmate, until very recently, until I have cleansed his body of this sin.
Oh god.
Oh God.
God, sorry. Oh my god.
The only thing I can imagine
sorry
is
about
Matt, like Muppet style, just like getting up there, cleansing him.
I mean, that's we do that
Straight up the
differently.
butt.
That's more for
Straight up the butt.
That's more for pride. No, but so what he'd do is, you know how you make an omelette?
Yes.
He'd make an omelette, put it in like the glass container thing, like the glass
What?
the measuring cup. You know that measuring cup, the glass measuring.
Are
cup?
you talking about like a Pyrex
Yeah,
jug?
the Pyrex thing. So
like
he'd
a
have
little
that in
jug with the measuring
Yes,
bit?
exactly.
Okay.
So a jug, yeah.
Okay.
Glass jug, and then he'd put that in the microwave, and he'd cook
What?
it for like a minute, and
What?
he'd call that an omelette.
That's sin.
Yeah, yeah. It was a horrifying day when I first saw this.
Oh my god.
He now cooks them on the with a pan. And
Yeah, as he
regular
should.
person.
I got
He's
taught how to
very-
do that when I was like 6, 8.
That sounds like something where he didn't get taught how to make an omelette and then suddenly moved out and had to make his own omelette and thought, microwave works, I guess.
I mean, it's one of those-
This is how I got taught at home.
Oh my God.
I'll also
Yeah,
say it's one of
Kiwis,
those
man,
things where
Kiwis.
if I have doubts about something, I'm just gonna Google how to make it. Like I make
Yeah.
I make scrambled eggs specifically in a way that is Jamie Oliver. Okay, you're eating. I thought Matt was
eating an
showing us a
omelette right
chip. Oh, here you go. He's eating omelet. Good. I make
This is a
scrambled eggs in the Jamie Oliver fashion, and I was like, oh, maybe Jamie's gonna have some like cool. No, is it Gordon Ramsay? I can't remember who it is. But whoever I found, it was like, how do you make like a perfect omelet? It's like. This is like, I'm like, oh, maybe there'll be like heavy cream or like something interesting. He's like, no, just get some fucking eggs and put them in the pan and like just don't overcook them. It'll taste better. Like, what are you fucking talking about? I'm like, oh no, I Googled the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of salt and pepper, maybe a little bit of oregano in there, and just cheese. There's cheese
I
as
don't know.
well. Or
I don't know how I feel about oregano being added to an omelette.
I think it's really good.
The salt's important to a good omelette.
I'm
but
crazy
I'm
for
also,
parsley on top of an omelette.
Oh yeah. I'm actually not a big omelette guy, but you know my favorite. You know my favorite thing, and this will be a good flashback for both of you, I reckon. When you're at those particular hotel kitchen places for breakfast buffets, and you can just go up to a little window, and there's like some strange dude that's native to the country that the hotel's in. He's got a big old wok, and you tell him what ingredients you want in your omelette, and he just whips this monstrous thing together.
I have
and you
experienced
go,
this in every place that I've been to a hotel buffet in. I've been to
Yeah.
In Paris. I've had it in Vanuatu. I've had it in Fiji. I've had this in Japan. Like every culture has some version of the omelette
so
guy.
good.
And they're always
The
the, best
omelette
breakfast
guy.
you can have there.
Yeah.
Can we
always
make
the
a
best
shout out to the omelette guy?
Shout out to the omelette guys
Shout
of
out
the
to
world.
omelette guy.
Because
They
like, you
deserve
just go
it.
up and you go, I want bacon, tomato, oregano, cheese,
Pineapple.
fucking pineapple. And
You
he
just look him
throws
dead in the
it all
eyes, like
the-
put pineapple in it. Put
Imagine
pineapple
if
in
he
it.
throws it in a
He
pan.
gets it right like every time. How do you get
I
that
know.
consistency?
It's
He's
mental.
very good.
You
And
looked
the
at
pressure of having someone watch it. Usually,
Yeah.
everyone's watching him cook.
the best one I ever had was a back alley one, and I walked up and I was asked like, "Oh, what's the protocol here? What's the thing?" Because I couldn't see any ingredients out. I was like, "What's going on?" It's like, just look into his eyes. I walk up to him. It's this big guy. Stares at me. It's like a solid like 2 minutes. It's like intense. I was like, I don't want to look away. I feel like he's gonna kill me. And at that very moment, I looked at and there was an omelet. perfect.
It's already made.
Salt and
already
pepper,
made.
parsley, all sitting there on a
read
beautiful
your
sourdough.
mind.
He fucking did it.
He did it. He did it.
Whatever you
Here.
wanted in your mind, he would have found it. He would have found
They-
it. He's in a backer. He can find anything.
He was previously trained by the CIA in that fucking what's the thing where they tried to do psychic
MK Ultra.
He's one of the MK Ultra scientist babies who escaped and now he just makes omelets in the back.
He's a god.
Is it a bit of a mystery box though when you get a random omelet?
I
and you
like
just
that
guess?
you're trying to push me to the topic of today's subject because we've now been talking about omelets for 10 minutes.
It's a bit much of omelets, okay?
I think it's the right amount for this podcast, but yes, it is a bit of a mystery box what kind of omelet you're going to get. And speaking of mystery boxes, today we're going to talk about Call of Duty Zombies, which I went into as a subject assuming that it was going to be a nice sort of walk in the park thing. I knew there was some storyline. I knew it might be like a little interesting. Because I remembered Black Ops came out and there was like a comic of like some teleporter and stuff, and I'm like, that's kind of neat, kind of interesting. My God, it's one of those things. I'm going to start with my script. The Call of Duty games are a first-person shooter game developed by Activision between 2003 and, as far as I know, unless something big's happened behind the scenes, current day, with the latest game being released in 2020 called Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which also wins an award for long, stupid titles. They're getting too far in.
Cold War, more like cold opening.
Yeah, rip. Within these games, some of them have a game mode called Zombies, which player characters are substituted for zombie enemies, and you, the group of 1 to 4 players, will fight against them in increasing wave sizes and strength using power-ups and bits and pieces. And in the first game that appeared in World of War, that was all it really was. There was a little touch of some extra bits, and when they released some DLC packs, so downloadable content, extra maps, they had a little bit of an extra sort of spice in there. But just like with any complicated timeline, Zelda, Kirby, etc., I'm looking at you, Nintendo, it's a case of too many writers with too many fingers in too many pies, and it just becomes a fucking mess. So, yeah. It's a pain. The Zombies game mode, in my experience, is sort of good for, like, couch play. I enjoyed playing it a lot with, like, little groups of friends and just having a little, rather than, like, you know, head down, like trying really hard.
One of my oldest memories with Jude is going to his house and playing Call of Duty COD. It was like Modern Warfare 2. Jude?
Yeah.
Did MW2 have it? I thought MW2 had
No, that had survival mode.
Yeah, survival
Which
mode
was-
against, like, waves of enemies.
Yeah. Which
Sorry,
was-
Matt, get into the... Black Ops 2.
Wait, guy,
Black
are you
Ops?
It would've been
a
Black Ops or Black Ops 2.
survival mode
I'm not,
against waves
I'll
of
do fucking
against
Minecraft
against
later.
against no against waves of enemies who aren't played by the character, who form a horde, who keep running at you and you go around building. Wait a second, they reskin zombies.
That was the same thing.
Yeah, they did just reskin zombies for
Yeah,
that one. So
100%.
Modern Warfare, for context for people who don't know, there was a game mode called Survival where you played against like enemy NPCs that just kept coming at you in waves. It was just zombies that just didn't add to the zombies.
It was just
I think
zombies, but they had guns.
I
and
think
it was
they
slightly
wanted to
different.
make zombies, but they added to the storyline, and they were like, "Oh, we got storyline in the background. Just put them against a bunch of NPCs. Reuse all the maps."
Yeah, straight up.
Call of Duty's the main game has a lot of context in real history, or at least future history. It's got sort of a basis around the idea of actually like being set in wars. There's World at War, which is set in World War One. There's
World War Two.
World War Two, is it? I don't know. Jude knows more than I do about the main storyline. But Zombies game mode started out sort of vaguely attached to that timeline, but ooh boy.
Oh yeah.
So, are you ready to begin?
Are you saying we're going to be... They're killing Nazi zombies?
Yes, the
That
game mode
was-
was originally called Nazi Zombies.
Yeah.
Yes, in World at War.
Yeah.
And one of the guys, I got very confused about this at the start. One of the basis of this storyline is actually a story of 2 German scientists, one of them who wants to be funded by the German government, and one who doesn't. The one who doesn't is also being infected by elder gods, but we'll get to it.
Wait,
Why
what?
are there always goblins?
I always love a good I'll get to it. Ooh.
What is it with Guy, and every episode he's done has and then the elder god
And then
came.
the other gods show up.
It's not my fault. I genuinely
It's like-
try and find
No,
ones
I think it's a
that
thing.
are like...
Because you were originally talking to us a while ago about doing Cthulhu.
Yes.
And then when you decided not to do Cthulhu, every game's like...
Yeah, because
Fuck
I'm now
you.
stuck in
Now
the
they're
game loop.
elder
I need to
gods.
break out of it, but the elder gods seem to... Because I love complicated timeline ones, and it always, as we're about to, starts out with elder gods.
As it always does.
As it always does.
As you do.
Speaking of which, we begin where they all begin. All the complicated timelines at the beginning of the universe, of course. A note, by the way, for any of the people who are listening who actually do know anything about the lore, I'm not starting at World at War because it would be going back and forth too much. So I'm starting at the start of the timeline and going from there. So eat shit. Also, if I miss anything, it's a deliberate omission or I'm stupid. You can figure it out for yourself. Beginning of the universe. Here, we find a group of creatures called the Keepers. I will send you guys a photo of the Keepers because they suck.
Oh dear.
They suck
Keepers.
so bad.
Is it going? Where's it going?
Messenger.
It's in a messenger chat.
Whoa. Get the old phone out.
It sucks bad. Also, apologies for the episode because Matt has a cough. So
I'm very sorry.
if Jude doesn't manage to cut some of that out, then that's just
very
what that
sorry.
is. Don't fear. He's all good. He's tested negative.
I have no COVID. I do have the cough. I'm going to die.
You sound like warm death, but that's okay.
Yes, I will die.
It's
Maybe
got a
this
good
is
gravelly
slightly
sort of
sexy.
vibe to it.
Maybe I will
Oh,
just
I
go.
see.
Yeah, the
let's-
Keepers. How's that looking for you?
I
So
fucking hate it.
those are our law keepers. That's,
Yeah.
that's our audience.
our
That's
fans.
us.
That's our patrons.
Would you
Uh,
mind
so those-
describing the Keepers for the fan? For the listeners? They're
So
not fans yet.
imagine like, you
Not anymore.
know Squidward from Infinity War,
What?
the follower of Thanos, one of his
Oh.
Black Order dudes.
I thought you were making a meme. I was like, what?
The wizard dude who helps Thanos in Infinity War, and everyone calls Squidward and stuff, and who looks like the Lilo and Stitch bad guy. Picture that, but with no face and just a big bunch of jagged teeth. That's basically it.
Yeah.
I'll do you one better. It's a face hugger that's a humanoid face hugger.
That'll do it too. Hey, that's all pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
huge teeth.
big boy, long head, lots of teeth. Kind of sucks. We also have a thing called the Aether. The Aether is, for the moment, tab it in as basically like a dark matter, like fabric of reality. It's just stuff.
Yeah.
It's like nothing in Keys to the Kingdom. Capital
Oh,
N,
okay.
nothing.
Are you telling me that we're going to get Aether lizards?
Yeah, for sure.
Aether lizards.
I mean, we've
Aether
already got
lizards.
Aether lizard. That's what the Keepers are. So the Keepers,
Aether
the
lizards.
Keepers can do two things. They can manipulate. They
Fuck and eat. That's two things.
two things at the beginning of the universe which we
We're
care
talking about the
they
keepers,
do.
not you, Matt.
Yeah, true, true.
But I can also drink
No, you
Can't.
can't.
Nah.
water. I can do water.
Drink water.
Oh, yeah.
Start of the universe. They do two things which we care about. One, they master multiverse travel. I don't know how. They just do. And two, they create the summoning key, a device which can manipulate the Aether to do a number of things, which is used as a cord. There's a lot of. I'm going to prefix. There's a lot of MacGuffins in this universe that just sort of do shit.
Fair.
How they do the shit, or why they do the shit, or why they suddenly have new abilities, or why they can suddenly do things is totally uncommented on. The summoning key here can seed life in different dimensions, which is what they do. They create a whole bunch. So with the multiverse, they seed life in a bunch of different dimensions, get it all started. They create a pocket dimension called Agartha, which is like a heaven sort of place. We'll get to it in a bit. It creates dimensional doors. It can summon creatures. It can preserve souls. And it can also just influence reality in general. Later on, it also traps an Elder God in there. Again, MacGuffin.
What the fuck?
I know.
So the keepers are making this.
Yes, the Keepers have made this key. Essentially, it's a device that lets them manipulate the fabric of reality to do some cool shit.
Okay.
They're Elder Gods. They can do what they want.
Yeah, all right.
Using the summoning key, they create Agartha, which I mentioned before. It's a perfect realm, which sort of becomes their home. Along with this dimension, they also discover, along traveling through the multiverse, they discover a place called the Dark Aether, which is like an upside-down reality, which corrupts and twists all who are touched by it. Some of the Keepers become infected by the darkness as they are experimenting and figuring out what to do with how they can mess with it. And this drives a wedge in the Keeper group, creating two factions. These are going to be our bad guys and good guys for the rest of the story. Kind of.
yeah.
Kind of. Asterix. Asterix. Oh my god. It's fine. The first are the Apothecons. You reckon they're the bad guys or the good guys?
I'm guessing bad.
Yeah.
say bad.
Apothecons. The Apothecons
I
are...
got con and apothecary in them. That's two bad things.
That's just bad
Apothecary
juju.
is not bad.
Apothecary is like a medicine place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like healer.
Yeah, but you're never good if it happens, you know?
They're making medicine for bad people.
Poco isn't like...
Are you
isn't that the
saying
word for the
first
end?
aiders are bad?
Isn't
Yes,
a poco
shut
like
up.
the word for the end?
What?
I mean, apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Apothecon. Anyway, Apothecons, bad guys, infected. Uninfected, who don't really have a name, but they are referred to in one document as Guardians, so I'm going to refer to them as such. So Guardians
boy,
and
Peter Quilter.
Apothecons. Huh?
Star Lord.
The Guardians of the Galaxy.
Sure, go for it. There are two leaders of these groups, who are each keepers. The leader of the Guardians is called Dr. Monty, and the leader
Peter
of
Quill.
the Apothecons, who I assume got to pick his name second, because it's way better, is the Shadow Man.
The Shadow Man?
The Shadow Man. The
Nice.
Shadow Man's our bad guy. I will send you as well. So after discovering they had been infected with Dark Ether, the uninfected, so the Guardians, banish the Apothecons to the Dark Ether realm, where they are trapped for a good amount of time. While they are there, trapped, I will get into details of that further, they also evolve into this. So they do look different from the Guardians. Again, go back to the group chat and describe what you see. Because they look different from the Guardians after spending a good amount of time in the Dark Ether.
Wait, okay, so you're telling me this first image is the good guys?
Yes.
That is horrifying.
Well,
I don't want them on my
asterisk,
side.
asterisk, dude. But yes, in Elder God terms, they are quote-unquote the good guys.
Okay.
I mean, he is wearing a suit with a tie, so
That
like...
specifically is the Shadow Man during one of the scenes. It's just the best shot we have of one of the Apothecons.
Oh, wait, so this is the Apothecon.
Yes.
Oh, right.
He looks kind of fly, though.
He does look kind of sick.
I'd
Oh,
rather
right,
that
so
guy
the
on
one
my
you said
side than the other
before.
dude.
Is
The other guy is
the
way creepier. This guy's
Guardians.
gone full out. That guy, the other guy's half gone creepy, which is almost more creepy than this guy's gone full tentacle, and I'm like, I'm kind of into that.
That's fair. I'll
into
also say
tentacles?
one of the other things which is interesting.
Matthew Doyle, you're into tentacles.
We literally discussed this last week.
I'm into a suit and tie. That's all.
I'm into a well-dressed man. I don't care what you got underneath. I just care about the presentation, baby.
Exactly. He's obviously got personality.
You can give me a
The suit
pile of
makes
shit
the-
provided
the
it's
suit
in a
makes
good
the
box.
Cthulhu.
Yeah, of course. Yes. So the first one is sort of a long-haired, big teeth looking motherfucker. The Apothecons. How would you describe?
So they're basically, they've got the same teeth. They've got the same mouth with giant fucking teeth in it. But instead of having a regular body, they've just got tentacles coming out of every fucking place you can imagine. Their arms are tentacles. From what I assume, their legs are tentacles. Their head is about 20 tentacles made up. It's very horrifying.
It's about right.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's intense to look at. Listen, it's the
lot.
Dark Aether. It's what it does.
Oof.
I will also mention, for sake of if something happens during a conversation and you're like, hey, why are they just talking to them like a normal person? The Apothecons and the Guardians both are able to look like normal human beings. So
Oh,
they
okay.
they can look like that. That's just their natural form.
Well, they are elder gods. So.
Yes. While they are trapped there, they also, of course, plot their revenge and eventual escape. This happens with the help of an artifact, the device called the Aether Period, which can just kind of do anything. Again, I don't know where the fuck they make different MacGuffins. It might as well be one. It might as well just be like 16 of the same fucking white orb that just manipulates reality.
Yeah.
The only difference appears to be how they're fueled, and even that's vaguely not correct because they all seem to be fueled by souls. Anyway, I'll get into it. The Apothecons created the Aether Pyramid, which they believed would act as sort of a gateway back to Agartha, back to the normal Ether realm. And before they were banished, they had to hide it, so they went to the multiverse and stuck it somewhere nice and secret, where no one would ever find it, which of course is our moon. It's on the moon.
They could have stuck. They're fucking elder gods. They could have stuck it in an empty universe and they stuck it on our moon.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god. And the Nazis flew to the moon.
There are
No.
space. Well, there's not space Nazis. There's space Germans.
This is in Wolfenstein.
It's in Wolfenstein. Sadly not. Knowing that they had placed it on the moon from the Dark Aether, I think, they send a mysterious element called Element 115, another MacGuffin, woo,
Yay.
to Earth.
Isn't that the one Tony Stark put in his chest?
Yes. Hoping that, and I quote, one day humans will wage war amongst themselves, which will open a gateway to the Dark Aether. I don't know how that works, but it does. And
Right,
from
and then
there,
World War
they
II
plan
happened.
to use the pyramid to... So Element 115 gets them out the Dark Aether. Ether Pyramid gets them into Agartha, into the heart space. Into the good spot where they want to fight with the Guardians. Don't judge my jazz fingers. I'm doing jazz fingers.
No, I'm judging the law. I'm not judging the.
Oh yeah, the law sucks.
I'm trying to just work out how many dimensions there are in this
So
world.
more or less, we're just kind of a stepping stone on the interdimensional space god journey, which is cool and Lovecraftian, as you said.
So are we like we're like what is it called? Like a highway between two places? What's it called?
Yeah, we're a highway, but also
Space highway.
It's like a highway, but the highway is like a one of those travelators, like the flat moving platforms, and to power it you need fighting, which is why they put it here. I don't fucking know. Except
like
this, they
Very
send
much very similar to TF2. It's a cool concept that they tried to add lore to.
Yes, true. They sent Element 115 to Earth because if humans, quote unquote, have a war, it will open a gateway to the Dark Aether. From there, they go to the moon. Moon goes to Agartha. They fight the Guardians, hopefully win in their eyes. Cool.
Kill the Guardians.
Kill the Guardians.
Fuck.
Yep.
Okay. Element 115. The element 115 seems to be highly radioactive. What this has to do with anything that happens next is questionable at best, but it seems to feed on souls to do a variety of things, as well as having passive abilities, which are exploited by scientists, which involve teleportation and interdimensional travel. How that works, again, I don't know. There's so many MacGuffins, I'm just going to keep moving. So, as long as humans don't have some sort of mass conflict with Element 115 nearby, it should be fine. Yeah? That's not gonna happen. Oh, look.
Yeah.
Let's turn our eyes down to Little Rock and see... Oh, they're fighting. Oh, humans are already
Oh, for
fighting.
fuck's sake.
Oh, no. We now move on to the part of the script which I have titled The Great War.
Ugh, fuck.
It is not World Wars. It is the year 1292.
1292.
1292. We start
before
off
the World Wars,
Call
huh?
of Duty fighting lore with swords and shields, baby.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
I want to fight some zombies with swords and shields.
Hell yes.
I mean, same.
Hell yes. The year is 1292, and a great war is raging. This is between humans and Apothicons, which is being raged across dimensions. As far as I can tell, this is the battle that the Apothicons wanted with the Guardians happening on Earth before they got trapped. I don't know. I've done multiple weeks of research, and I still don't know why this is happening. There's a war going on between Apothicons and humans, accept it. It's happening on Earth. There's also humans involved, and they have swords and shields. During the war, a man named Pablo Marinus is saved by a group known as Primus.
So how is this a fight if there's gods?
It's gods fighting against gods.
I see. Okay.
So it's
fine.
the Guardians and the Apothicons fighting against each other.
Okay, I was
The
thought they were
humans are
fighting
just
humans.
involved as pawns. Also because during the war, a man named Pablo Marinus is saved by a group known as Primus, 4 mysterious heroes wielding staves of elemental power. Again, this is Call of Duty War. I don't know why they decided to put this in here, but I'm glad they did.
Staves of elemental.
Hell yeah.
I want to be one of them.
Trust me, it gets way more boring in a minute. Don't worry about it.
It just reminds me of this. Like, are these the Power Rangers? Are these just the fucking Power
You can see why I'm in so much pain trying to write this script, but why I still want to tell it to you so bad.
Yeah.
I've literally been complaining to these guys for like 2 weeks now about how much this script sucks and I hate it. Pablo becomes relevant later, but for the now, just remember the name. After this, Primus...
Pablo Escobar, got it.
Yes, Pablo Escobar. With the help of a guy called the Wolf King, the Keepers, and just the rest of the humans who are around, the Great War ended and the Apothicons were defeated, quote-unquote. I don't know.
Who is this Wolf King?
I'll get to him later.
That's an awesome fucking name.
Here's the best bit. As far as I can tell, he's just a king who befriended 2 wolves and they fight with him. He's just a cool king. There's paintings of him that you can find and they're really good. I'm so sad I didn't actually...
Wait, like you can find it in game?
So there's a map called Der Eisenrad.
That's really cool.
Der Eisenrad, something like that, where you fight in a castle, and it's the Wolf King's castle, and there's paintings of him around. The Wolf King, COD zombies. Let me pull up a photo. There's a photo of him. That'll do. Copy and paste into the group chat.
Oh yeah, I see the photo, the painting. That's kind of cool.
There you go. It's in the group chat.
Nice.
It's just a king with some wolves.
Hell yeah.
He's
I love
cool.
that.
He's
Man,
cool
I
as
wish
hell.
that was me.
I wish that was me. Okay. With the details around this, they're mostly unknown. We haven't gotten to the Great War yet, mostly because I don't think Call of Duty can be fucked making a sword and shield thing, which is extremely disappointing, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
What details are, main forces, as mentioned, were the Apothicons, reinforced by zombie hordes, as well as supposedly parasites, which are winged bug creatures with glowing insides. Magwas, who are three-headed, like, think of the Demogorgon from Stranger Things, but like 3 heads and like tentacle limbs that kind of like crawl along like a big dog. And the aptly named Elder Gods, who are not gods, as far as I'm aware. They're just big, okay, think of Guardians of the not Guardians of the Galaxy, oh my god. The Avengers, the first one, where they're fighting against those big aliens that are like flying through the sky.
Leviathans.
Sure, I don't know what the fuck they're called, but yeah, Leviathans, we'll go with that.
Sure.
That's what they look like.
So the real Elder Gods created something and called them Elder Gods.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it seems that they are actually just really deformed keepers that are like dark ether infected keepers, but they're like, I don't fucking know. It's so bad. This is one of the best bits. The wiki is like sparse, and because the other thing is something for context. A lot of the lore comes from cutscenes that are shown before and after a zombies map or during Easter eggs. So a lot of this is literally like, again, as most of the shit I do is, apart from Hollow Knight, God bless Hollow Knight for actually having documented lore, it is like snippets of stuff that people like snap together. So, like, even the wiki pages have parts where they disagree with each other, or parts where they're just, like, one leaves out, like, a whole shitload of details, which are really relevant, which is why this was another pain in the ass to write. Anyway, we're half an hour in, I gotta go. I'm literally on page 4 out of 18. I've written nearly 7,000 words for this script. I want to die.
Yeah, actually done pretty well if you're on page 4 out of 18.
We did talk about eggs for 10 minutes. So.
We did talk about... Well, I say page 4 out of 18. I think 2 of those pages are just big copy and pasted photos of the thing. So page 2 out of 16.
Oh boy.
Let's go! On the other side, we have the Guardian Keepers, as well as the Wolf King, who is a king with wolves. He also has a servant called Arthur, which is a reference only in name because he's a giant man and he's also just a servant. As a weird side story, when the Wolf King passed away some years later, he told Arthur where to bury him, and at some point after that, he ends up being teleported through time to a mining town and trapped in a cage.
Kinda sucks to be Arthur, man.
There's so many weird shit.
Imagine.
Also the mining town's overrun with zombies, and it's been teleported underground as well. Bad luck, Arthur.
Fuck.
Do you find Arthur in game?
Yes, he's in one of the maps. If you remember, there was a mining town map that's like underground.
I do remember that, actually.
That one, there's an Easter egg where there's a guy in a cage, and you can get him out by finding a key, and he then runs around and does shit.
Oh,
nice.
He got teleported there from the Great War, and he's actually a medieval peasant, so...
He must be really fucking confused.
Yeah, I would be too. Okay, that is the Great War. After the war is won by the good guys, Primus, the 4 guys with elemental staffs, tell the Wolf King to build his castle in a specific place in Germany, a place that would later be called Der Eisendrache. Again, we're right at the start of the whole lore. Give it a minute, I'll get to it. Skip time. We're now in 1931.
Oh,
so, that was just to set up a historical event, which I'll reference at some point, but also because timeline doesn't make any sense. Fuck you. In Russia, during the build-up to World War II, there's a large amount of a mysterious element called Element 115, which is found, and a group is formed to study it. Being mysterious, glowing, and magical at times, from what they can see vaguely, it was kept under wraps.
Let's poke it.
Yeah, pretty much. Well,
it's like vibranium.
We'll get to it. Well, kind of, but it has more magic powers than vibranium's just like strength.
And they made it into a frisbee.
Yeah, true. A scientist called Dr. Ludwig Maxis headed up the team, which would be called Group 935, a German-led research team. Maxis wanted to develop technology to improve the human condition, with genuinely seeming altruistic ideas. Another thing, there's a really weird mix of like good and bad intentions between a lot of people in this story, so I'm not going to put a finger on any of them being the bad guy or the good guy. There are ones who you play as and ones who you kill. I think it's meant to be morally obtuse, or otherwise they just didn't really give a shit, considering the fact that most of their games are based around warfare and that sort of stuff, and kind of glorifying it. I'm not going to take a stance on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair.
So, he had genuinely altruistic ideas, Dr. Maxis. He seemed like he actually wanted to do stuff. He also invited some other people to work with him, one of them being Edward Richtofen, who is going to be a big boy in this story. Dr. Edward Richtofen, who, while being a brilliant scientist, was also a member of the Illuminati. That very rarely comes up and actually isn't that relevant, but it's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That Cod just wanted to go.
So the Illuminati is confirmed to exist in the society.
Yeah, in
universe.
this universe. It comes up once or twice. It's not actually that relevant to many things. He leaves it in, like, a year. The group proceeds with experiments with Element 115, and after some time, about 8 years or so, they have some very successful trials with teleportation technology. However, they also find out that any trials that involve human subjects result in the subject having their quote-unquote composition altered and are left quote-unquote catatonic. They eventually figure out a way to quote-unquote resurrect them. One of these catatonic subjects, while it obeys their orders for a short time, soon becomes rabid and starts attacking them, which they then kill it. And that's the first zombie. That's how that gets made. It's literally just a teleported subject that they somehow revive with Element 115, and now he's back, baby.
To be honest, that's actually like an interesting. It's a more interesting than most zombie things. Those
Yes,
things
correct.
Just like it's a virus.
It's not
infected.
infection. It's literally the cells being corrupted. And later on, I suspect that what's happening is they're actually being infused with a bit of dark ether and some bad juju, corrupting elder god magic.
It's actually a little bit interesting to how they make zombies.
Yeah, for sure. Defection, 1939. Maxis decides that things are at the stage now where they can push to give their research further, and being a German scientist, he turns to the German government for help, which, I don't know if you remember 1939, they weren't popular. They were doing some...
I don't know. I think scientists were really booming in Germany.
They were doing something interesting, for sure.
Yeah, they were.
They approve the research and express interest in everything they've created, even the undead creatures. They have desires to turn the undead creatures into sort of a disposable army, where they can just...
Yeah.
Also, because if they can get captured people, they can turn them around with no issue. There's a lot of reasons to want it.
Russia's like, oh shit, we were already doing the disposable army. Now we really can do it.
Yeah, woohoo! Richthofen starts to get antsy, because while it's great for a Nazi research team... wait, hang on.
What's up?
Oh! Richthofen starts getting antsy, which is great in a Nazi research team. Things can't go wrong here. Because he's trying out smaller scale experiments, which his elder, Maxis, considers to be a waste. Admittedly, the man was bragging about teleporting a walnut, which is referred to in official Call of Duty website documents as Edward's Walnut Delivery, which is great.
To be honest, that sounds like a good business idea. Edward's Walnut Delivery?
Yeah. This man has, like, a big thing for this nut. And it is actually very interesting, because it's the first thing that they manage to teleport that doesn't get its composition corrupted. So Richthofen is figuring out how to teleport things without turning them into zombies. Which is good.
We appreciate that.
We appreciate that, Richthofen. Richthofen is worried that Maxis is taking funding from the German government might cause defection in the team, because they aren't actually all German scientists. They are a mix of some international grab bags, it seems, ? And also because not all Germans obviously agreed with what the German government was doing. So Maxis being like, hey guys, I'm the head of the team. I'm going to take some Nazi money to fund this project. That wasn't going to be a popular idea.
Yeah.
Richthofen continues worrying about this, and so quietly continues with smaller scale teleportation experiments behind his back, and with some more time, Richthofen and a small subset team manage to get on to doing trials which eventually involve actual humans with his uncorrupting teleportation test. After some time, he volunteers himself to do it, and gets teleported to the moon. Which kills him instantly. No, it doesn't.
Wait, what?
I'll get to it in a second. So, essentially, he's continuing...
Is it... Do we know what the difference is in technology, or is it just left... Like, why this one doesn't corrupt?
No, there is not enough detail in there.
Okay.
It's just a refined version of it, because Maxis was like, oh, we've got teleportation technology, cool, time to tell the German government, whereas Richthofen was like, I don't think you should take Nazi money, also I think we can do better.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Richtofen. So
So Richtofen went to the moon.
Richtofen gets teleported to the moon. It seems to be by accident. There's not really a lot of details about how the teleportation technology is going at that moment. So,
Did he survived?
he survived because he didn't get teleported onto the surface of the moon. He got teleported into an underground series of catacombs, which was created by the Apothicons so they could hide the Ether Pyramid.
I was gonna say he's fucking found the Elder.
He's
God,
found the
that's
Elder One. He's found the Ether Pyramid. So he gets teleported into a sort of sustainable area. He then moves through to the Ether Pyramid, finds it, and of course, being a fucking dumbass, presumably, touches it, gets electrocuted, and is now hearing voices in his head, which are coming from the Dark Ether and the Apothicons.
I mean, okay. You've just been teleported
Yes.
to the moon,
Yes.
underground.
Yes.
I would touch things. There's nothing left. What else are you going to do there?
You'd probably be thinking,
To me,
well,
I
if
hadn't
I've
actually-
survived this, what the hell harm could
I
I
really
Exactly,
hadn't
right?
thought about that, but there is no real precise time scale attached to it, so he could have been there for like a week, just like,
Yeah. He could have been there for ages going, I don't want to touch it. I guess I have to. I'm starving. I'm thirsty.
I gotta find this. So this electrocution
He's
causes
so
some sort of
thirsty.
linkage. Shut up. Causes some sort of linkage to the Dark Ether, where he can hear the voices of the trapped Apothicons hiding in wait in the Dark Ether. Following their orders, to a degree, that he's also going crazy at this time, he teleports, whether that's through the power of the Dark Ether, it's not described. I think there's a cutscene. Please don't kill me if I'm wrong. He gets teleported to the jungles of Shangri-La, which is Tibetan jungle of China. In this
It's an
jungle...
adventure.
Yeah, hell yeah. In this jungle, he learns about the mystical secrets of Vril, as well as encountering the focusing stone for the first time, which is a big rock of element 115. It's more MacGuffins. Trust me, I literally, writing this script didn't occur to me because I was writing it in bits. Later on, I reread it and I was like, I need to do a recap at some point. There's one coming up, so if you lose track, don't worry, I'll remind you in a minute. Not in a minute,
just
it's going to be in like an
remembering-
hour.
Yeah, because there's like I remember the moon map from Black Ops.
Yes, that had the pyramid, and the Ether Pyramid is later on. It comes back. It's okay.
Right. Yeah.
In here, he ends up in just learning about the mystical secrets of Vril from the locals. I've done some poking around about what Vril is, but it's murky. The one that I can find a definite definition of comes from a book called The Coming Race, which was written in 1871, which details a group of superior beings that live underground and can command some sort of, like, essence? It's magic. It's just magic. It's just, there's more fucking MacGuffins. Magic. It's just different versions of the same shit. They just all wanted to have, every writer wanted to have their own MacGuffin that they could say that they wrote, but...
Yeah.
So yeah,
The
he knows...
coolest so far is the magic sticks.
He's
That's
learned
the
about...
coolest.
Yeah, that's true. The elemental staffs are pretty good.
Yeah.
So he finds out about Vril and continues on. He's also worshipped by the locals, as he did magically appear there, and probably has like a gun. So
Yeah.
I'd worship him.
Yeah. No. I'd worship him as well.
Yeah. Makes sense. Richtofen returns to society in 1940 with war doing stuff, with plans to establish a moon base called Griffin's Station, so he can have a base near the pyramid. He also renounces his Illuminati membership for what it's worth, disappointing many people, not least of which is me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did the voices tell him to do it?
Don't know. Might have. Maxis and Group 935 continue to establish research facilities, places like the Kino facility, which is a repurposed theatre, and the Asylum facility, which is in Wittenau Sanatorium in Berlin. Kino facility you might actually know, because Kino is one of the Black Ops 2 maps which was the most played. It was the big theatre one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Kino Theatre. That's a Group 935 base. You don't remember it, Matt, because...
I have no clue what's happening.
Yes.
I remember it was it was kind of like the main basic map you started on.
Yes, correct. That's the one that I played a very much lot with the friend that I had before. I guess you guys.
Yeah.
You know Josh. You remember Josh.
Yeah.
It's all good. Amid this, Group 935 scientists defecting to Richtofen's sort of subgroup, as they don't like the idea of Maxis' alignment with Germany. There's obvious issues with both groups, but who else gets to work with the blue shiny stuff? You got to go with one of them, and I guess the one that isn't a Nazi is probably better. The other one is mad and has a base on the moon, but it's one of those things.
I've got my resume. I want to work for one of these companies. Okay, both of them are shit. This one works for Nazis.
This
Well,
one's
yes, I
run
don't
by
have
a guy who is hearing the voices of dark gods, but he has a moon base, so that's a plus.
To be honest, that is a plus, having the
is a
voice of
plus.
Dark Gods.
Is that a plus to
That's
you?
a plus to me. That's a plus to me. He has ambition and he has direction.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
A scientist who I should have also introduced is Schuster. He only comes up a little bit, don't worry about it, who is working with Richtofen on the walnut experiments, if you remember those, Edward's walnut delivery. He's now also involved with the moon base. He was tasked with finding a way to power the Dark Ether Pyramid.
Wait, have they gone back and forth?
Yes, they
from
have a
this place?
teleporter set up now between the two.
Nice.
Well, they have teleporter technology. They figured out how to do it, and the team that is Richtofen's is the group that like figured out how to do proper like teleportation. So that main group is the one that knows what they're doing and can set it up. So it's not a stretch. It also has a period of like 2 years that they set it up in. So they have a period of time, and also they're being funded by the German government. So probably have unlimited money.
I guess they got money.
Yeah. Now, with Griffin Station complete in 1942, Richtofen's team is working there around the clock. Schuster accidentally, well, not accidentally, he does do it deliberately, kills a rat in the same room as the pyramid. As he's been sitting there trying to figure out how to power it for ages, is now bored, sitting there like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do? Oh, rat.
Just kills a rat.
Kills a rat, and notices that tanks, which are attached to the sides of the pyramid, start to fill up with a mysterious blue liquid. And he goes, oh. Interesting. Logical
Hey,
progression.
German people. I need some stuff to kill.
Well, logical progression from this is that the team starts sending up soldiers, scientists, and anyone else they can get their hand on up to the moon to be sacrificed to the Devil Pyramid. Why didn't they just get shitloads of rats is beyond me, but that's okay.
I mean, yeah.
Rats can only satisfy for so long.
The idea that happens is that in the moon map that you actually play in zombies, what you do is you lure a bunch of zombies into the room after completing some steps, start killing them, and the zombies being killed fills up the tanks.
Yeah, actually,
But-
I think I remember that being a thing. And then it gave you like
Correct.
a cool power up.
It gave you a cool power up and did some other stuff. Yes, correct. That's the idea of what they're parodying. Well, not parodying, but like running with. But it also doesn't make a lot of sense. Why not just kill rats? They're way easy to get. I can guarantee you 1945 Germany has some... 1942 Germany has some fucking rats.
Come on. Sorry.
I mean, look, we won't get too dark, but I think 1945 Germany had plenty of people it could kill off.
That's fair. Maxis was aware of what Richthofen was doing, but didn't think he had the ability to stop him. He's also concerned with the fact that Richthofen might... that Richthofen thinks that the dead... what? Oh, God. What was I writing? There's also... Okay. Richthofen thinks that the dead might be uncontrollable, and Maxis agrees, but despite the fact that the German government wants them to get them undead soldiers. I think that's what I wrote. I'm not sure. It's okay.
It was a fever dream.
Listen, a lot of this was a fever dream, baby. I had a fun time. Oh, boy. 1944. I've titled this section, Pablo's Back, baby.
He's back.
Remember Pablo from the Great War in 1292?
Yeah, the Escobar.
Group
Pablo
935 has captured a Mexican spy called Pablo Marinas. How'd he get here?
Escobar. Also, how was he if he's Mexican?
Hold up.
In 12...
1944, he's Mexican.
Okay.
1292, his ethnicity was not described. No, I will not
Okay.
explain. This is why I said you shouldn't do this episode tired.
Mexico doesn't exist in 12, but also there are people living
Well,
there.
Hey, man, take a swing at which direction he went then.
I don't know.
Did he go from 1292 to 1944? Or did he go from 1944 to 1292, my man?
And then back again.
So, he's captured as a spy for the Mexican spy. They hold him prisoner at Der Eisendrache, which you'll remember is the castle that was established after the Wolf King died. The castle I keep mentioning. And he records strange visions of a great war and records that he can see himself being saved by 4 knights wearing the traditional armor that he can see in Der Eisendrache. Which, of course, is the armor of the Wolf King. Strange. I'm not hinting at anything. Shut up.
No, not at all.
He's then taken as a prisoner to a facility in Siberia. There, he has his spleen removed in an experiment and dies. At this
Shame.
Oh, poor Pablo.
How's it
Bye,
going?
Pablo.
Whoa, what's gonna go on?
Bye, Pablo.
He's dead
You were
now.
loved.
He's dead. Like, he actually died there.
He just,
I'm not
What?
joking, he died.
I'm so confused.
they just went, cool, you time traveled twice. Okay.
Did he, though? I'll get to it. I hate this script so much. At the same time,
Pablo.
at another facility, there is an outbreak of the undead. Unfortunately, the undead are spreading as they have the ability. I think they duplicate, or maybe it's just anyone that dies, and I don't fucking know.
They just spread it.
They just spread. They're just there.
They do zombie things. They bite people and they become zombies.
Tank Dempsey,
But we established they don't spread via virus.
because they're infected. I don't know.
They spread the corruption and energy inside them. Let's just accept
We'll
it.
just go with that. There's
They just
just there's
spread.
zombies now. Shut up.
They
Zombies.
spring out of holes in the ground.
Well, my suspicion, I don't know this, but what's just popped into my head is it's possible that Maxis and Richtofen have been sending the German government undead zombies to use that can't be controlled, but that they can still just like drop on a facility and just be like, zombies now, get fucked.
I mean, makes sense. That's what
Deal with that,
German
allies.
government might do that back then.
Pretty much. At the same time, at another facility, there is an outbreak of the undead. Tank Dempsey, a US Marine sent to investigate the facility, is caught up there. He survives, but becomes a test subject to replace Pablo for the 935 group. He joins Takeo Masaki, Nikolai Belensky, and Richtofen at a Siberian research facility. At the time, Richtofen is still playing that he's part of Group 935, despite the fact that he's doing all the moon shit and some other stuff. Don't worry about it. He survives. So, this group, for future reference, and this is going to get weird, I will refer to as Ultimus. Ultimus. So, Takeo, Nikolai, and Richtofen, along with Tank Dempsey, are the four people who are Ultimus. That's a group of people.
So we've got Ultimus, we've got the Guardians, we've got the Keepers, and we've got
Primus.
Apothicons,
yes. Which are the bad guys. There's also Primus, who are the guys who saved Pablo back in the Great War with the big staves.
Yes.
So, if I refer to anyone as Ultimus, Richtofen,
Yep.
Nikolai, that's who I'm referring to as this group.
Yep.
Don't read into that. Richtofen has brainwashed the other three, and they work with him on his research, as well as protecting him when things go wrong. Richtofen doesn't just have these boys as test subjects, but also has Maxis's daughter, who is called Samantha, and her dog Fluffy. Since Maxis has been commanded to leave her in Richtofen's care, as he's doing other stuff.
I'm sure the dog will have nothing to do with future things at all. Not at all.
I'm getting right into this. The dog, through experiments, has been turned into a hellhound.
Oh, fuck's sake.
From being teleported through the teleporter and being infected by the Dark Ether, presumably. Hellhounds are a staple mini-boss of the Zombies series. They're essentially fiery dogs. Fluffy, at the time of being teleported, was pregnant, which is why there are so many dogs. Yep. That's just how it is.
Okay.
Richtofen returns to Der Reese, Group 935's main facility, and helps... What? Go. Tell me. Tell me what's wrong with it, Jude. Tell me something I don't know.
Is this dog 101 Dalmatians or?
Yes. He's
Does it
also.
have a litter
They're
of
also.
100?
She's also infected by the Dark Ether, a godly material that apparently can manipulate reality. Get over it.
Hey, Jude, at this point, I think it's just easier to go with it at this point.
It's just easy to leave, maybe.
I'm down with the Hellhounds, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Oh, God. Anyway, we'll get past it. Richtofen has returned to Der Reese, Group 935's main facility, to continue helping with teleporter tests. This is where we get to how the Hellhound gets turned into a Hellhound. During the experiments that transform the dog, Samantha sees what is happening and runs to go help it. However, the dog is in the teleporter device at the time, and Samantha is caught up in the activation of the device. Maxis, who her father, is also present at the time, and also goes into the teleporter to save them. Richtofen then seals them both inside, having snapped, as far as I can tell, Maxis not producing a gun that he told him to. It's weird. Richtofen designed a gun and then told Maxis to mass produce it. By the time Richtofen got back from the moon, he discovered that Maxis hadn't been producing this gun. And then that made him snap, and that led to Richtofen's great plan, where he basically just sealed Fluffy, the dog, Samantha, the girl, and Maxis into a teleporter that was unstable, and then sent them off. Maxis has been suspicious of Richtofen for a while, though. There's a great... I can hear Jude hyperventilating.
So this guy got revenge. Can you hear Jude go?
No.
I just.
No, he's just quiet.
Okay.
He's taking a moment.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I
So,
know.
yeah, I get this. So he's out for revenge because he didn't produce a gun he wanted.
I
Fair
think there
enough.
are a number of other elements that play.
Yeah,
into it
I
as
think
well,
there were.
but
He's gone crazy as
and
well, a
also,
little bit.
Maxis is the one who was taking funding from the Nazis, so
Isn't he also a bit insane in the
he
head?
is also very insane. Yes.
Okay, so he blocks his kid and her dog and their father in the
Yes,
thing to
correct.
get revenge, and then now you have all the power. So yeah, fair enough.
So he sends them away to a teleporter place.
So, a little retroactive backstory. Maxis has been suspicious of Richtofen for a while. There's a great conversation between the two, and Maxis goes, I don't know where they're going during one of the teleporter tests, where Maxis goes, I don't know where they're going, but they're being teleported somewhere. Richtofen suggests they might actually be traveling in time as well as space, at which point Maxis goes, you're fucking crazy, as if all of this isn't dumb enough.
The fuck? Of course, that was Pablo who was the test subject.
It's so good. Anyway, as well, Richtofen has got to get rid of these fools soon, as the moon pyramid appears to be primed and ready for something, because they're filling up the tanks. So Richtofen's got to get this revenge plan done nice and quick and
I
get
like
up to
how
the
they
moon.
keep filling up this Elder God thing. They have literally zero clue what it's gonna fucking do. It
Yes.
could blow up the moon. for all they
However,
know.
you've got to remember that Richtofen has the infected voices of the Dark Ether in his head, which are
guess.
telling him to do it.
I guess, but wouldn't there be oversight? Some other guy would go, "What? Why are we
Well,
doing
then
this again?"
Richtofen just tells them, like, oh yeah, it's a device of great power. It's going to give us all superpowers and we'll win the war.
And they're like, "How do you know this? Where'd you get this information?"
Well, I can
Matt,
analyze it.
Matt, think about the fact that you're looking at the same governmental war body who sent people looking for fucking ancient biblical artifacts.
Okay, you're actually right. They
And
did try
also,
find
I'll
the
also
Holy Grail
point
and
out
the
that you're
Spirit-
talking
and the Spirit of
about
Justice. They did.
questioning the guy who has managed to somehow set up a moon base and has found an ancient artifact on it. If he said it set fire to all the dogs on the planet when it powered up, I believe him. I have no fucking idea how I'd debate him. How would I prove him wrong?
That's true.
Especially as I'm picturing him like Gollum now, just with all the voices in his head.
Kinda. Yeah, no, he's still he's actually quite a good-looking dude.
Hitler would probably be down for it, actually. Thinking about all the things he was crazy about.
Yeah, he'd have been totally into that fucking pyramid.
I'll
Like,
share.
yeah,
I'll
he,
send,
was, he was after the spirit.
group
justice,
chat. I'm
and
gonna
all sorts of
send
shit.
you. Group chat. I'm gonna send you a picture of Richtofen. Because he's a good-looking man. He's a
A
good-looking.
cult. That's the thing. That's the word I was thinking of. He said people looking for a cult.
Yes,
Yeah,
a cult artifact. He did.
For context, like Hitler actually sent people out to find cult artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
The cult artifacts, like the Spear of Justice and the Holy Grail.
Yeah,
He actually thought they were real.
Powerful.
Very funny.
And then Harrison Ford was hired by the American government to stop them.
Ooh, he is cute.
Yeah, he's fucking good.
Yeah.
Stop heart reacting, Richtofen.
But he's not though.
So, being inside an unstable teleporter, all of the people inside the teleporter are sent to weird places. This is when the Hellhound thing happens. I think that the dog just sort of gets like split across reality. Like one of those fucked up teleporter things where they go like, ah, and disappear into
Aw,
particles.
poor doggy.
Poor doggy. What? Do you not
I
like
get it.
my Foley?
Your the fact that it was the dog gets split and then you went very human. Bam.
Shut up.
It's like when you get a movie with the wrong subtitles, but it works anyway. You know, that kind of thing.
It's good. Samantha, after being teleported, ends up at
look,
the
it's a
moon
dog.
facility.
It's a dog.
Oh, it's a puppy. Hey,
It's a
Rua.
puppy.
I do
Matt,
have a
Matt
dog.
has a dog.
I have a dog here.
Oh.
Rua won't speak. I would get her to speak, but dog here. And I was like, we're not going to rip you into pieces. Don't worry, Rua.
You're not going to turn you into a hellhound, I promise.
We're good.
We're good. Samantha, after being teleported, somehow ends up at the moon facility. It's possible that she ended up experiencing the same glitch Richtofen did when he ended up there. Meh. Whoops. She's then promptly, while scared out of her mind, runs into the room with the MPD, as it's become known, the moon pyramid device, and hearing voices in her head compelling her to, touches it.
So you're telling me this is just a giant pyramid scheme? I've just realized this.
Yeah.
They should have known this was a problem at the
Shut
start.
up.
This is just a giant
You
pyramid
did-
scheme.
Oh,
The dog's going
hellhound's-
crazy.
The hellhound.
The hellhound has escaped.
Oh no.
I'll fix her in post. It's fine.
Will you? And will you just keep the beautiful...
She's the spoiler dog. You can't fix her in post. She's our hellhound spoiler dog.
Ooh, she's getting more intense.
Someone's walking up to the door.
She doesn't want you to get rid of her.
Jude has muted himself. It's all good. I'll continue. Samantha, after being she instantly is corrupted by the pure dark ether inside and becomes merged with the infection, the corruption, which is doing its thing on the undead. Which means that now she's in control of the zombies.
What?
Meanwhile...
Why was she different to all the others?
What do you mean?
All the other teleportations. Why is she
No.
different?
She teleported to the moon, but at the same time, Richtofen, they'd powered up the moon device with all the souls.
Sorry.
So at the time, it was open. She's run out and been like, "Oh fuck, what am I? Oh my god, I'm like an 8-year-old girl. I don't know what I'm doing on the moon. What the fuck?" Runs around.
Question.
Yes.
Really important question.
Yes,
Does this 8-year-old girl have a teddy bear?
she does.
Oh.
Jude knows what I'm talking about.
Out of context, that sounds really creepy. And I'm very
No.
concerned.
Okay, fine. We'll get
Out of context, that sounds to me. Sorry, that sounds really fucking weird.
Hey, okay. Do you know the mystery box?
Have you been listening to any of this fucking podcast?
That's a good point.
Do you know the mystery box, Matthew?
I do, and I know of the teddy bear.
You know
but-
how sometimes the teddy bear comes out of it and it
Yes,
teleports
but-
across?
Yes, I do, but also people who don't know about that's going to sound really fucking strange.
Yeah, but we're obviously giving it context that it means something. It's not just Jude being fucking weird.
Okay, it's a very creepy teddy bear that'll
It's a
come up
creepy teddy
later,
bear
I'm
that
guessing.
comes out sometimes in the undead thing. It has places in the plot. It doesn't get described in here. Don't worry about it. Meanwhile, while she's being corrupted and turning into the leader of the zombies, dear old daddy ends up in a place called the Crazy Place, which I can find no context on, nor do I particularly want it, because it's just good.
That's just a state of mind, man.
Maxis, while there, learns how
You
to...
know the writers have just fucking given up when they go the crazy place.
You can tell they've given up when not only that, but when someone goes to the Crazy Place, Maxis, while there, I've lost my spot. Meanwhile, dear old daddy's... Maxis, while there, learns how to merge his soul with electricity, becoming a ghost in the machine.
What the fuck?
I know.
Is he fucking Electro? What the fuck?
He's Electro.
Give it a minute. Richtofen, now at the moon and understandably panicking because he's realized that Samantha has ended up in the moon pyramid device, commands one of his scientists to retrieve Maxis, which apparently at some point they figured out how to get teleportation technology to like summon people or something. I don't fucking know. Which I don't know why you don't just at that point summon Hitler and just shoot him, but
Yeah, just summon all the people you hate.
just summon
into a
all the
room
people
and
you hate.
kill
Just
them.
flamethrower. Like, come on. Yes.
I have a question, but I probably shouldn't ask it because it might get explained later.
Yes.
It's to do with Pack-a-Punch.
Yes, continue. I don't actually
Is-
explain that in the script, and I'm willing to talk about it, yes.
Fair. I think because for those of you that don't know Call of Duty Zombies, because as the waves increase and the zombies get tougher, your weapons start to be kind of shit. So to say in the game, you have to do a thing called Pack-a-Punch, where you basically put your weapon into this thing, and then it comes out better. And isn't it like the thing you're putting your weapon into when you pay the money to make it more shoot better? It actually teleports it somewhere.
Correct.
And then, yeah, and then you get teleported back a trade where the scientist that you just teleported your weapon to has gone, oh, I can make this better, and then teleports it back to you.
Yes, correct. So, for context on the
Yeah.
Pack-a-Punch machine, in 1885, a blacksmith named... I'm reading off the wiki here. A blacksmith named Jebediah Brown was living in a mining town called Purgatory Point in the Old West. The mine contained a large amount of Element 115, which started to affect the people who went down there. One of the miners turned into a zombie and attacked Jebediah's mother, killing her. Wanting to find answers, Jebediah went down into the mine where he spent 5 days without realizing it. Later, on April 19th, Jebediah had a vision in his sleep. 2 angels asked him to build a machine, a Pack-a-Punch machine, which became a success in the town. On June 30th, Jebediah had another vision where 2 angels asked him to build the Agarthan device. The Agarthan device has 3 components: the blood of an elder god, found at the bottom of an ocean, an elemental shard created by forging 4 human souls to a rock of element 115, and a metallic vril device. Jeb managed to craft the vessel, which is the metallic vril device, but not much else. He also creates the Pack-a-Punch machine. As a result of this, there's some other bits and pieces that happen, but essentially, he creates this out of element 115. So it's like a little tiny teleporter that teleports it somewhere, where a bunch of presumably elder gods or aliens turn it into a better gun.
I see, yeah. I like it.
Yes. There you go. That is what that is. It didn't.
Probably-
It has a little bit. There's times later on where that machine being created in that town ends up taking that town, the old mining town called Purgatory Point, and putting it into a crevice in a cave, which is one of the zombies maps that you end up playing, and also where Arthur ends up getting teleported, which is the mining town that I mentioned.
Oh.
Again, it's sort of like a thing that matters, but
Yeah.
couldn't be fucked. There's already enough in the script.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Matt.
Yeah, no, it just seems to be like from what the context, the Apothicons wanted to make violence, so that's where their success. So they would just give, if someone gave them a weapon, they'd be like, yeah, make it more powerful.
Correct. That I mean that's fair. I don't know if that's the truth of it, but yeah, that checks.
We'll make it our truth.
Absolutely.
We define the law.
So, once they're there, they try and retrieve Maxis. Unfortunately, once they've gotten Maxis to the pyramid, Maxis looks at it and, not seeing any other way out, tells Samantha to kill them all. He then takes his own life and merges with the systems at Griffin Station, essentially becoming the moon base.
Kill all the zombies or kill all the people?
Kill all the people. Just kill them all. That's the only sentence he utters to an 8-year-old.
Nice.
Go off, King. Whatever. Who cares?
Fuck.
Samantha.
Continue. No comment.
I've then written there, Samantha then does that, smiley face.
She's a good 8-year-old. She follows orders.
Yep. So, Group 935 is obviously shattered at this moment because everything's going to shit. Everyone everywhere starts stealing stuff off Group 935. Americans, Japanese, all sorts. Richtofen is on the run with 3 other members of Ultimus. They head to a Rising Sun facility in Japan in order to get back Richtofen's diary, which he lost. This bit of the timeline gets kind of weird. He lost his diary and needs to go get it back. After this, they travel to Group 935's main base in Germany in order to use the teleporter to get back to confront Samantha. I don't know if they fucking left. It's super weird. Just let me go. Let me rest.
Never.
Let me die.
However, they travel with an experimental gun called the Wunderwaffe DG2, which is the one that Richtofen was mad at Maxis for not producing. It's an experimental gun which uses element 115, which would have killed a lot of people in the war if it had been deployed because it shoots lightning, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
But as they're in the teleporter, he shoots it. Using element 115 in a teleporter proves to be something which is unstable, which might be the issue they were having with the previous teleporters, but it also seems to have really random shit. It's really weird. Anyway, they use the Wunderwaffe in the teleporter as they're teleporting away. This is Ultimus, which is Tank Dempsey, Nikolai Belinsky, Takeo Masaki, and Richtofen running as a gang. And they use the gun in the teleporter, and the diary is lost in Russia.
I see.
The Overload as well also marks the first case of time travel in this logical sort of timeline. By doing this, they're also starting to cause temporal rifts, which are appearing across time and space, hence the teleporting hole that Arthur went through in 1292. I'm so sorry for just inflicting this on you guys. I feel bad doing it.
There's no easy way to go about the lore, I feel, this one.
Trust me, I opened this up and I was like, it'll be fun. There'll be teleporters and some Nazis and there'll be some fun No, you can't have fun doing this.
You just gotta plunge the knife in. It's fine.
Yeah. This is also the first time that the Keepers step in to help. Monty, the leader of the Defenders, steps in and starts making minor edits to time. He also starts helping Ultimus, helping them with...
Wait, do you mean Guardians?
Wait, what do you mean minor edits to fucking time?
He has the summoning
Yeah,
key?
but
What's it called?
the smallest edit to time, you have huge effects across the entire
Yeah.
time.
Nah, she'll be
He's
right.
an elder god. He's been doing this for
I don't
years.
care who he is.
He also starts helping Ultimus as they defend various facilities around the world with chalk drawings that can create guns, perk machines, and also perk machines, which are otherworldly vending machines that spit out drinks that enhance the unit's performance. Those are placed there by the Keeper, which is why there's random fucking mystical machines that are just in a facility that they're defending from zombies. That's zombies' explanation for why those are there.
Nice.
Wait, what machines?
So Pack-a-Punch is put there, the chalk drawings that you can buy guns out of, and the
Oh, the cola things.
cola machines, yes, where you can
Yeah,
buy
right.
Juggernaut
Tombstone and stuff.
Tombstone and all that sort of stuff. Those are all placed
Yeah.
there by Monty, the Apothicon Keeper,
Oh.
who is on their side. Again, it feels like one of those things where we're like, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares?
And we're back.
And
Yeah.
we're back.
You got that
With
was
absolutely no delay at
There's
all.
been no difference.
No difference.
No-
I am so cold.
well. To be honest, no one will notice anything unless you fucking mention it. Boom! Snap your fingers, and the next part of the episode.
I
I,
remember
d-
everything.
So
I
guys-
don't know which sentence to torture you guys with first.
So-
because they all suck.
So, guy, yes, aliens from outer space, extra-dimensional beings, and COD zombies. Go.
You sound like you know what you're about to receive, but I think I'm about to kill you with my words.
Okay.
Better men have tried.
And succeeded many times.
So, to recap to where we are, in a very minor sense, Monty, the leader of the Defender Keepers, the good aliens, is stepping in and making minor edits to time, which is because... Shut up! Because they are making the teleporter overload, which is causing rifts because they took the Wanderwaffer DG2 into it. Richtofen also lost his diary again. And now the alien Monty is creating magical chalk drawings and soda machines to help them fight the zombies.
Okay. After a cup, after
I was literally for the last couple of weeks, I've been like, I'm gonna hex you, I'm gonna hex you, I'm gonna put a fucking curse on you.
after the last couple months, I mean 2 seconds that we were gone for.
Oh, 2 seconds. Oh, minor technical issues.
I forgot how crazy COD Zombies story.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad, baby.
Yeah.
But I love how they can justify everything. They just it's the same as Team Fortress 2. They made a game that's cool and they're like, how do we justify every dumb decision we made?
They went like, oh, we want a comic made about this, and people were like, oh, okay, fine.
guess
I'll
I'll
make you a
think about
goddamn
it.
comic.
You're gonna be goddamn happy about it.
Okay, now continuing on.
Yes.
I like how one of those key points in that mentions time, messing with chalk magic, and just someone lost their notebook. Cool?
It was
Yeah.
Richtofen. He lost his notebook again. Meanwhile, there's also a Russian research team which is working on their own weird devices with some less success. So
Yes.
we have the Germans who have made the teleporter and some
No,
cool
no,
wonder
stop,
weapons.
stop. Matt, put those fucking chips away. No,
That's just
get
got
it
Doritos out.
Get it out.
It's been
Put
2
it
months
away.
and he's forgotten all of his courtesy. Actually, no, never mind. He never had it in the first place. I forget
This
that.
is on brand. This is on brand.
No,
for me.
put it fucking
He
away.
literally, it's not
No.
even like an open. He's not even just gonna pop the top. It's a rolled one with a band around it. He's got to uncrinkle that whole thing, uncrinkle the bag, go rummaging around for the bottom chips.
Screw pretending we're like 2 minutes into this re-recording and Matt's already reached for the crinkly packet of Doritos.
I think we've been on a number of Zoom calls and other bits and pieces with him. I think we had an entire D&D session last night that went for like 4 or 5 hours, and Matt, I don't think had anything crinkly the entire time. If so, like very minimal. He had like a sip of water.
I had a cake. and
As soon as it's like, hey Matt, we need to do a recording to put on the internet for people to listen to, he's like, alright, I'm busting out the Doritos. Son of a bitch, put them away.
You damn son of a bitch.
if I don't have a new snack that makes a crunch sound every episode, our ASMR viewers will leave us.
Our
we-
very
are we-
clear
are we-
ASMR audience.
Are we doing well in that demographic then, or?
Great, that's
Assume.
our only audience.
Our only demographic.
And we
whether
love
they know
you
it or
for
not.
Anyway, continue telling us about them Russians ago.
Meanwhile, the Russian research team is working on their own weird devices with some less success. They're trying to make some stuff. They do create a device called the Gersh device, which is a singularity generator / fucked up bomb type thing. One of the team members finds Richtofen's diary which he lost. I told you it was the most important part of that sentence,
Yeah.
despite the other wild
Where'd he
things I
find
said.
it?
It just showed up. It got lost in a teleporter.
Oh,
so
fair
it
enough
just-
then.
You know, Yuri Zavoysky finds Richtofen's teleported diary and starts to hear Samantha, the daughter of Maxis, who is Richtofen's best friend / science companion turned enemy's daughter, which ended up in the moon device. I'm going to just delete this script in the most violent way possible.
Can we print it out and burn it? in a ritual burn.
I've got a USB stick. I'm going to humiliate it and then destroy it. I have a One Direction USB stick that I've had for years.
I mean, wonder. Okay.
Not that it's going to matter to any of the listeners, but for when we eventually release recordings, I'm showing these guys that I have my One Direction USB
Unironically,
stick.
One Direction
I'm going to
pops.
put it onto that stick, and I'm then going to burn it.
Unironically, One Direction pops. I will stand by my word.
You can stand by that, sure. Anyway, Yuri, the Russian scientist making the Gersh device, singularity generator, has now picked up Richtofen, evil German scientist / kind of hero / I don't know, picked up the diary of Richtofen, which for some reason now means that he can hear Samantha, Moon Girl, who is in control of the zombies.
It just makes sense, okay?
For those people that know the game, this is Samantha's the little girl that has the teddy bear, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we went over this 3 months ago. But
We
covered it
made
previously.
this discussion, with connection.
I suggest if people are listening to this episode and have gotten to this point, you should probably pause the episode and just leave it for 2 months, which everyone who and then come back, and you'll be in the same mindset as us.
Yeah,
it'll make a lot more sense.
That's advised listening. If you're not listening that way, you might have a subpar experience. But
The
know that
optimal
you're
experience
listening
is you listen to our first
for the
episode.
hardcore fans of the Living by the Law universe. You want to leave it 2 months. It's like
This
the
is
correct
someone's
viewing
going to do a
order.
re-listen of all the episodes, and they're like, right, no, I've got this one planned out.
To get all the achievements, you have to leave this for 3
So you
episodes.
start
before
with Keys to the Kingdom #1, then you go to Middle Earth, then you go to fucking Hollow Knight, then you go back to to Keys to the Kingdom.
You can't
Part
listen to
2.
Keys to the Kingdom back to back, because otherwise
no.
it just makes...
Additionally, you can't listen to Keys to the Kingdom straight through because you get bored. That's just... no one
I'm
can do
barely
that.
one sentence in.
No
Okay.
one can do it.
Yes, he hears the
Okay.
little girl's voice.
He hears the little girl's voice. With this infection, he decides, I'm going to turn on the Gersh device, even though it's not very stable, where he sucks in one of the other scientists who's working at the Russian facility, as well as sending himself to the Pentagon, where he basically just fucks with John F. Kennedy while a zombie outbreak happens.
This
If
is
you're
one of the
aware of the
maps.
map where you play John F. Kennedy and a bunch of American... and
Security team.
no, there's a guy there who was on a bunch of posters. Pablo Escobar? No.
Pablo Escobar?
What the fuck's
Uncle
his name?
Sam? Uncle Sam?
No.
We
Shut
need
up,
you
no.
poster?
It's just like
They
Men
weren't
in-
alive at the same time.
Uncle Sam's not a real person. It's
Yeah, but isn't it a caricature of
Lincoln?
Lincoln?
I guess, yeah,
Yeah,
kind
I
of.
think it's meant to be, but
Little more colourful Lincoln.
John F. Kennedy. I'm doing on the fly research.
This is
Cod
how
map.
this is the sort of quality you expect out of Living by
yeah.
the Law.
Well, on that note, while a guy does that,
Here we go.
it's-
No, pause. His player indicator is white while negotiating with
It's
Cuban
white,
Prime
yeah.
Minister Fidel Castro, along with
Ah.
Robert McNamara and Richard Nixon at the Pentagon. Zombies
nice.
invade.
Okay.
During this time, Yuri Zavoisky is playing a mad scientist and fucking with them. Can we please? Can we?
Yeah, let's keep going. That's great.
Let's be civil about this.
I'm accepting everything. Nothing you can tell me can blow my brains anymore.
For some reason, him powering up the Gersh device and putting someone into it, as well as teleporting him, also allows Samantha to escape the pyramid that she's been stuck in, controlling the zombies, and can now travel freely as a sort of ghost zombie wildness.
Of course, that just makes
I'm impressed by the fact that I'm remembering this so well.
that just makes physical sense. Like if you speaking to someone else telepathically mind, and you're on the moon in a zombie pyramid. Then if you learn to teleport,
Keep going.
with the device. Sorry.
Matt. What the fuck makes sense about any of this?
That's why I couldn't finish a sentence. I was gonna just make it sound logical, but I couldn't finish my sentence.
After this, Richtofen and his team of Ultimus being the one timeline, show up at the facility and attempt to release the scientist Gersh, who is it's the Gersh device, it's his device. He was the scientist sucked into it from that device. That was another map as well. After freeing Gersh from the Gersh device and finding his own diary again, Richtofen needed it.
Hell yeah.
Don't read my secrets. He remembers and enlists the team to find the Vril device, which is one of the 3 parts which activate the pyramid.
Yep. The pyramid on the moon.
The pyramid on the moon.
This just
Awesome.
makes sense.
The Vril device is basically ghost magic energy. Don't read into it. There's literally, I could not find any more information than that. I swear to God. It sent me to a link to like an 1850s book about underground ghost spirits and how they're like a supreme race that could do magic. And that's it. There's no connection to Call of Duty.
Did you not read the book?
Just,
Did you not
just
read
one
the
of the writers saying like, hey, read this
Did
book.
you not read the 1850s book?
It's not 19, it's 18.
1850s book about ghost magic and
seems-
ghost white supremacists?
You know what this feels like? It's like in the fucking first Avengers movie, right? When Thor shows up back on Earth and everyone's like, but the Bifrost got destroyed. And Loki's like, haha, how much dark magic did Father have to conjure to get you here? And that's just it. It's just implied that there's some magical thing that can just vamp Thor anyway. There's no fucking explanation. There's nothing.
I
It's
mean, to be fair, they also call that back in Endgame. Oh, no, Infinity War, because to use the dark magic All-Fathers to send Hulk to Earth.
Yeah.
So it's called back.
I'm gonna
Hey, if you're gonna
lasso
look
you and
for
pull you back
plot
to
holes in the
Call of
Marvel universe,
Duty.
I'm gonna call you out on them because there are very many of that kind of
Gersh,
ones.
now an electricity ghost, sends them to their next destination, which is 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Now in 2011,
Skyrim
Ultimus,
was released.
Very good year.
Ultimus, which is Richtofen and his team, Tank Dempsey, Nikolai, I can't remember his last name, and there's a Japanese guy as well. Ends up at the Siberian 935 facility, which is where they were doing some more experiments, where George Romero is now filming a movie after finding Group 935, the German group, research in modern day. So, Group 935 is the German group who were doing all the research and found the teleporters and doing all the secret moon shit. They're the weird German research group that Richtofen was part of.
Is George Romero a real person?
Yes, he's a real movie actor.
I
He's a movie
was
director.
thinking, I was like, I've heard of George Romero.
So now they've gotten
Yeah.
George Romero, and George Romero has somehow found the Group 935 facility, and instead of, reporting it to the military and saying like, hey, I found a weird science facility with a bunch of random shit in it and diaries and stuff, he makes a movie there. From the cutscene we see, the movie's a bit fucking weird. It features 4 actors, all of whom are real people, and are voiced by their real person selves. We first have Sarah Michelle Gellar, who you might know as Buffy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We have Robert Englund, who's Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street. We have Danny Trejo from... It's Danny Trejo. If you don't know who that is, I'll kick you. But it's the uncle from Spy Kids, or, Machete from...
Machete! Just say Machete. What have the
It's
confused?
Danny Trejo. Come
Machete.
on, man.
That's his
And
legal
also,
name.
Michael Rooker, who's Yandu.
Nice.
And also he's in Walking Dead, but who fucking cares about that?
Yeah, nah.
So they're all there filming a movie. Ultimus, including Richtofen, show up there, and also then zombies come. I forgot about. I like this script. I might not delete this script.
This is actually the dumbest episode we've ever done on this podcast.
It's also pretty bad.
And
that
we've
we
done a
left it to-
lot.
I think it would have been better to do like the Link one, leave it in the middle, because then I could, game by game, like little bite-sized pieces. Whereas this more.
Wasn't it Kirby?
No, Link was more bite-sized. I went over the games.
Yeah,
We did a Link
we
episode.
did a Link episode.
Legend of Zelda, where we talked about Ganon.
Oh, sorry.
Judy, you're
it
just
was
forgetting
mocked
what we
as
do
Legend
here.
of... I'm sorry, Legend of Zelda clicked in my mind more than Link. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Maybe we should leave because this episode's going great so far. Maybe we should leave every episode 3 months cooling space between every episode.
Call it marinating by the Lord, fermenting by the Lord.
Marinating the Lord. You got to leave it for a little bit in the fridge, Leave it cool.
This is fermented lore, fine aged lore.
Mwah.
Oh, God.
Okay, since Ultimus is there,
Yep.
the Richtofen
The
and
team.
stuff, Samantha goes and releases a bunch of zombies onto the set of the movie. Note, Richtofen and that have fought a bunch of stuff, and some of them are genuinely soldiers. They fuck off to do something else and leave the actors to fight the zombies. Which is cool. The actors then help Richtofen to get the real device, which is, again, magic ghost juice device, and send him on his way to Shangri-La.
So he's got two.
Which
He's
is
got two of the
where-
3. No.
He's got one of the 3. They then send send him on his way to Shangri-La, which to revise again Richtofen went to the moon, got his brain corrupted, and then got sent to Shangri-La where the locals worshipped him in a very random way, and he learnt some secrets about Vril, which is like ghost juice. This is so bad. Can we delete?
Is the ghost magic? I know that you didn't read the 1850s book, which is disappointing. But is the ghost magic different to the other dimensional being magic?
Moving on.
I need answers, guy. I need answers. Are there two magic systems?
Every single thing in this series is a MacGuffin that just does shit.
Yeah, but there has to be some sort of system here.
There isn't, baby. There isn't. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, actually, guy, there is a system. It's called game code from the game development.
I don't think the system works.
It's a bunch of different writers who all wanted to have their own MacGuffin. It's fun. Okay.
It's like the last Star Wars movie.
You guys are very lucky.
MacGuffin
You guys are very lucky because at this point in the script, for some reason, my brain ticked that there'd been too many MacGuffins, so I wrote a rundown of.
Oh, excellent.
Why didn't we start the 3 months thing with this?
Because we needed to go across Danny Trejo and Sarah Michael Gellar before we got to it.
Fair.
We need to get across that hurdle.
And George Romero.
Element, I'm going to run through this really fast because I don't want to take up more time.
Yeah.
Element 115 is a mysterious material referred to as divinium, considered as like a super material that holds the universe together, which allows them to do some cool things like teleport. It's the thing that they found in the meteorites that let them make the teleporter.
Yeah.
It also is what resurrected the dead and started the zombie issue.
How can one
was
thing
sent to
do
the
that
universe.
much?
Huh?
What?
This was sent to this universe by elder gods, the bad keepers, who had been locked away for doing dark magic.
Yeah. Of course.
I'm done. I'm already done.
Remember the really dapper,
yes,
nasty
I
looking
do,
alien
and I
motherfucker?
love them, but
That's Element 115. The thing was, like, if humans do a bunch of fighting around this, we'll release ourselves into this universe. That's what started the zombies. It's what the thing is that's in the Moon Pyramid device, etc., etc. Speaking of Moon Pyramid device, the MPD, Moon Pyramid device, is best described by this quote. The corrupted keepers create the Aether Pyramid, a device capable of absolute power. A schism forms between them and the keepers that are untainted by the dark ether, dark magic. War breaks out between the corrupted and uncorrupted keepers. Facing defeat, the corrupted keepers hide the Aether Pyramid on the moon within one of the newly discovered dimensions, because at that point, very early in the script, the keepers have been doing a bunch of dimension hopping. Do you have any questions, Matthew? Your face is a mysterious blend of blank, confused, sad, and I want to say happiness, but I can't tell.
disappointment.
Maybe
That's
anger.
disappointment.
That's disappointment. Cool.
It's very similar, but just keep
It's
going.
also powered by Element 115, but this is in the form of liquid refined souls. If you remember, a guy killed a rat next to the pyramid and started making juice, and they're like, cool, we're going to send a bunch of prisoners to murder next door.
Oh yeah.
Because it was,
It's been corrupted, which hence the madness, and Samantha turning into Samantha Voidify zombie horde controller when she ran into it because it was open, etc. Vril device. I actually wrote a description for it. A golden rod forged by the keepers as some sort of powerful artifact. Again, I think it's a reference to the book that I mentioned, especially because it's also repeatedly called a rod, and there's the book that references the fact that there are some people who have like a magic wand superior thing. I think it's a thing from the book, but there's no further explanation.
You really should have read this book. It sounds pretty
I
important.
don't want to read the book.
Back reading. How long is what's the book?
I'm not going to read it. You can find it yourself after this. Keep listening. There's the Casimir mechanism, which is the Gersh device, the singularity thing we found before, with some... I've then written a bunch of question marks after that, so I assume I never got to figuring out what the fuck they did to it. But it's the Gersh device, which they fucked around with and made some stuff. Then there's the focusing stone, which is just a really big rocket element 115, which is like a super battery. Cool. Richtofen also shrinks it while they are there using some stuff.
Wait, what?
So element 115, the focusing stone, is a big rocket element 115. It's in Shangri-La. During the course of the map, you use some fucking magic and suck it down into a little rock, and it's basically a super battery of element 115.
Is this ghost magic? Is this post?
This is not ghost magic. That's real.
Okay, so this is other universe magic.
This is element 115. This is bad keeper magic.
Yeah, but like the magic that shrinks it. This is
Oh, the magic I have no fucking idea. Play the map. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. The magic goes away as soon as we're done with it.
Sounds really useful.
We now travel to the future. Again. There's a group called Broken Arrow, which needs element 115. So they try looking for it all around the place. They think that there's some called near Nuketown, which is everyone's favorite 1v1 map.
Of course,
Nice thing. That's just a nice aside. That's just a thing that was mentioned in it. We now go to October 15th, 2025, where Richtofen has been sent with the Gersh device, the Vril stick, and the focusing stone. They got the Vril Gersh device. So you were right, Matt. They had 2 out of 3.
Thought so.
So the Gersh device is the singularity generator. The Vril device is the stick which they got from the movie set. And the focusing stone is a big rock they got from Shangri-La. So they got a battery, a stick, and a singularity generator.
How did they work out how to do this again?
God.
Love it.
God told them to. No, it's because Richtofen has the voices of the Dark Keepers in his head, and they're telling him like to do shit. I think. Please don't kill me if I get this wrong. It's been like 2 months.
I do remember you mentioning that.
Okay, Richtofen and the gang back on the moon now with everything they need to activate the pyramid. They merge the focusing stone with the Vril device, and power it up, and activate it. When this happens, the pyramid opens, and with some awesome planning and effort, Richtofen manages to swap bodies with Samantha. So he's now in control of the moon pyramid device.
Right, okay.
So they yeet Samantha out of it and put Richtofen into it. Although, they are swapping souls. So Samantha's soul is now in Richtofen's body, and Richtofen's soul is now in Samantha's body.
Oh, so there's like a grown man in a little girl's body.
Correct.
That doesn't raise any
no,
issues
not at all.
whatsoever.
Shut up. Ultimus Richtofen manages to swap bodies with Samantha, ending up being the soul in control of the MPD. He now controls the zombies. Maxis, this is going to be a cool thing, as a final act, asks the remaining members of Ultimus to send missiles at Earth. This is a desperate attempt to stop Richtofen, as the missiles are supposed to somehow sever the Earth's connection with the ether. So they want to cause a cataclysmic event on Earth that does like some space-time shit and cuts the connection between the dark ether, where the spooky boys are, and the corrupted people.
I thought you said more hate and more destruction strengthens that connection.
Shh. If you do too much of it, it breaks. Shh. I don't know. Okay. So
Makes you think, did they actually, when they were writing the new ones, did you think they looked back at what they'd already done?
I think they just decided that they wanted to send a bunch of missiles to Earth to have a very cool final Easter egg moment in the map. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It makes our
Since
job
the calculations unfortunately have been made without much planning, it also just completely fucks the Earth. And Richtofen still controls the zombies that are here. So everything's a bit fucked.
So that's why in Black Ops 2 Zombies, the world's all destroyed, right?
Correct, because they bombed
Awesome.
it.
Yeah.
Everything's a little bit fucked. The bombs have kind of fractured the multiverse. And since the missiles
What
were
sort of
infused with
missiles
element,
were these that fractured the
they were infused with element 115.
Ah, that makes
and
a
they
lot
were
more
also just
sense.
nuclear
Okay, I thought
bombs.
they were just normal fucking... Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense.
I
and then
will
that
also-
would also mean that the missiles create more zombies as well, in theory.
Kind of, yes.
This was
I
the
will also
dumbest
remind
fucking
you-
plan. Who did...
No, pause, quick. It was, okay, I will tell you whose plan it was. It was Maxis's, and to remind you, Maxis, when his daughter was being sacrificed to the moon pyramid device, turned himself into electricity to take control of the moon station.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Fuck.
So he's a bit all over the place.
So we're all good. So now we're in the post-apocalypse.
We're not all good, but okay.
Yeah, we're all good.
The post-apocalyptic world turns pretty grim. There are small factions of humans battling over what's left of Earth. Maxis realizes what has to be done and begins contacting groups all over the planet, asking them to help him with, quote, directly, Plan B, which involves activating devices that are around the Earth that will open up a gateway to Agartha. Agartha being that perfect dimension that was created by the Guardians once upon a time when they were doing all their dimension hopping. They basically made heaven. So, Maxis wants to open a gateway to there to use the energy from that dimension to heal the Earth without reopening the connection to the Dark Ether.
Why not just go there?
To Agartha?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. the next sentence, secretly, Maxis wants to harness the power to open a gateway to Agartha, where he's just going to take Samantha, destroy the Earth, and all of the humans in the process.
There you go. See?
So, but he's going to destroy all the humans in the process. It's just him and his daughter going to heaven, basically.
But it's not really his daughter, it's Richtofen.
Or is his daughter in Richtofen's body? Is he taking Richtofen? That's really weird.
Yeah, we'll get there. He wants to take the soul of his daughter with
So
him.
he's
'cause
taking
he's an electronic
him and-
soul as well.
Him and Richtofen just having fun.
Ultimus Richtofen, now in the Moon Pyramid device, is kind of weirdly unsatisfied with the power that he has over the undead. Because he expected to still be connected to the Dark Ether as well. So he's basically gotten, like, the light version of his software.
Yeah.
His zombie controlling software.
He's got the free
'Cause
trial.
What it should be is him. What he should be is, like, the sergeant in control of his army, and then he's got his masters who can control more armies and stuff like that. Whereas he's king of the shit, and also there's a bunch of zombies that got bombed, and they're kind of running over an Earth that's already kind of fucked. So...
Yeah.
It's like an E3 game that has a really cool trailer, and then you play the game, and it's just very unfinished.
I mean, yeah, when
Isn't that every game these days?
Shut up.
when you kill everyone, who do you rule over at that point?
Precisely. Well, he didn't kill them. Maxis did, so... Alright. Unsatisfied with the power of the dead, he plans to activate the devices that Maxis wants to activate as well, which would grant him further manipulation of both the zombies and mend the rift, which is a direct gateway to Agartha. So essentially, he wants to cut off Agartha completely, and then use the devices around the planet rather than uniting them to open a gateway. He wants to use them to have greater control over the Earth and just upgrade his shit.
At this point, I'm just going to go along with it, because I'm not going to question...
Just shrug and keep
I'm just
moving.
not going to question how that would work at all, because that... No.
What? Talk to me. I've got the answers.
You don't... Every time we question...
Shut up. It wasn't meant to be thought about that hard. Several years later, in 2035, Martin Johnson, who is the sole survivor of a nuclear incident in Camp Edward and the eventual missile strike which took down the rest of the world, met with Abigail Misty Brighton in a diner near Green Run, where they encounter two more survivors, Russman, a former Broken Arrow operative, which is the American group who was doing some shit, and Samuel J. Stuchinger, one of the remaining members of The Flesh. The Flesh is a group who started eating zombie flesh to survive during the apocalypse, and now hears the voices of Richtofen. So they're basically just zombie fucked up people. They're using a stolen bus for transport, which you might remember from Black Ops 2, the bus map, that's them.
Transit.
That is one of those few maps I
four-
played. Yes.
That group of four becomes known as Victus. So we have Ultimus and we have Victus. Cool?
Yeah.
Sure.
Shut up. They manage to activate a bunch of the polarization devices, with Richtofen supposedly reviving them each time they die, because they're kind of working for him, and manage to open the rift in favor of Maxis, which is very odd, the fact that Richtofen's helping them, but go along with it. Samantha realizes what her father's plan is, and reaches out to Dimension 63, one of the many exposed worlds that appeared in the fractured multiverse. So when the multiverse got all blown fucked up and they severed their connection to the Dark Ether, it did also split open small rifts to other universes in the multiverse world.
So yeah, okay. What are the Dark Elder Gods doing, or the good Elder Gods doing right now at this point?
The good Elder Gods are manipulating reality and sort of floating around, not really thinking it's their problem.
And the Dark Elder Gods
are trying desperately to get out of the Dark Ether. And that was the bombs have split that connection to the Dark Ether for the time being.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
I get it.
Samantha realizes what her father's plan is, to open up the Agartha gate, go with her, and then yeet everyone else. And opens up a gateway to Dimension 63, one of the exposed worlds, and reaches out to her dad in that dimension. So it's a new Maxis. We've got Maxis 2, Electric Boogaloo, baby.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
This happens after she's drawn into Agartha by Ultimus Maxis, which is Maxis 1, and she's now trapped there with him. When Maxis is put in power, as well as opening up the gate to Agartha, he also forces Ultimus Richtofen into a new zombie body called Undead Richtofen. So, to recap, we've activated all the devices around the Earth. That was Victus's job. That's the guys on the bus. They're doing that in favor of Maxis. Maxis has now opened up a gateway to Agartha, taken him and his daughter's souls to Agartha, where they're now trapped.
Yep.
In the process of doing that, he also got Richtofen out of the Moon Pyramid device, yoink, and put him into an undead body. He's now called Undead Richtofen.
Okay, what about...
Along with this...
There's another Richtofen and another Maxis?
Yes, that is Dimension 63. That is Primus. So this is another set again. We'll talk about them in a minute. I'm going to call them 1 and 2.
Okay.
The next sentence that I wrote, and this is, listen, I know you guys pretty well, so I think you'll appreciate this, was, get ready to keep track of too many people. I didn't actually help you, I just warned you it was coming.
Oh, this is Overwatch all over again.
Overwatch was far easier than this.
What was Overwatch?
It
What
was
hard about Overwatch?
I didn't know any of the characters' names, so when you guys were yelling them all out, I was like, who the hell is any of these people?
Well, we've now gotten you to play Overwatch,
Yeah,
baby.
now I know who the hell we were talking
Now
about.
you know who Torbjorn
I can go on a
is.
random server and not be able to play any character, but I can tell you their entire backstory.
Rate and review our podcast, and we'll play Overwatch with you.
No.
No. Oh, maybe. Depends if you live in Australia. I'm not going to play with Americans. My ping's going to be like 400. How can I charge people as Reinhardt if I don't have that
Can I
ping?
charge people all that cash?
Better internet, God.
Right.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Primus Richtofen, which is the Dimension 63 version of Richtofen, shows up and tells the undead version of himself, the one that was forced out of the Moon Pyramid device,
Yep.
current dimension. So other dimension Richtofen tells current dimension Richtofen.
And who's currently a zombie as well?
Yep.
Current dimension Richtofen is a zombie, yes. Tells them to capture Victus, the 4 people in the bus, in order to harvest their blood. This is another MacGuffin, which will be useful later. This is a surprise tool that'll help us later.
Fuck's sake.
Victus, now being pursued by zombie Richtofen, disappears into a rift, headed for, quote my script, unknown places. I don't know why I hated myself so much.
He's gone.
I think I expected to do this all while this was all fresh in my memory, and now I hate myself.
So gone.
Yeah.
This makes no sense right now. Holy shit. Past me knows exactly what I'm thinking. This makes no sense right now. But to find out why he's doing this, we'll need to head back down Primus Richtofen's timeline, called the Primus timeline, with the Dimension 63 version of events.
We're
So
not
the world
going
that they've
down
opened up
another
to
timeline.
has a separate timeline, and we're going to get into it, baby.
No. We're not going down another timeline. You're kidding.
I've titled this section Primus Speedrun.
Oh, thank
Yes.
fuck.
Speedrun it,
Please.
Matt. Shut up.
Please.
Me.
Okay.
Shut up.
Can you
1294,
wrap it?
Great War's back, baby. If you remember the 4 people who appeared with the elemental spears and they were all doing night shit and weird stuff,
Yeah.
that's the Great War.
Great.
There's a guy called Pablo Marinus who was saved by them. He's back.
Oh, yeah, he
Except
went back in
this
time, didn't he? Oh, that was so good.
Except this time, he documents Element 115. He writes diaries about what's going on. Rather than just dying and reappearing, he actually writes down what's going on. We didn't hear about this last time, but because it wasn't documented, whereas now Pablo's writing this shit down, which is good. He documents Element 115, the Keepers, Primus, 4 mysterious people, and all that sort of stuff, which they did in the other dimension, but he just didn't write it down. Group 935, Dimension 63 version. In this dimension, Richtofen and Maxis fucking love each other. They are like best friends.
Oh.
Richtofen's seeing Maxis as a father figure. And since he has allowed him to work in Group 935, he's mentored him during this time. Previously, when Richtofen lost his parents, Maxis mentored him at university. This is like a full-on like father figure mentoring shit, rather than in this dimension where Maxis just sort of made fun of the fact that Richtofen tried to teleport peanuts.
I love the relationship. It's much better. It's much more healthy.
935 was also formed earlier, and the pair became members in 1912. Previously, I think it was like 1930, so it's like a good like 15, 20 years earlier. In 1914, Primus Richtofen encounters, get this, another Richtofen. This is an older version from the same
so
time.
we're at Richtofen count 3.
Yep.
Yes, kind of.
But this
depending
is
on,
the same-
Depending on
this
if you
is the
count the
same one.
variations.
Yeah.
This is the same one from the further timeline. This is old Richtofen. Old Primus Richtofen visits young Primus Richtofen and gives him some blood.
A lottery ticket.
The other Richtofen then disappears, leaving through a rift in time. If I fuck this up, then it's not my fault. The timeline's very confusing. And
No,
you guys are
I'm
having
entirely blaming you, guy.
I'm talking to people who know better than me. I'm talking to people who know things about the timeline.
No one knows
If I
this
get
better
something
than you
wrong
guys.
here-
No one.
People, no, trust me. There are people on the internet who like debate this shit. I look at them and go, okay, cool. Like, I'm gonna take that one because it's funnier.
Okay. Just get guy. I'm not mad if you get anything wrong. It looks hard. I'm mad that you brought this to the podcast in the first place.
I'm mad at myself. Okay, 1917, 3 years later after Richthofen got the blood. Machthofen, as I've written them here, which is Max's and Richthofen's ship name.
I appreciate that.
Anyway, they find Pablo's diary, which indicates that there's a large cache of element 115 in France. They also call element 115 divinium in this dimension, which I will totally ignore.
It's a better name.
Also detailed in the diary of Pablo Marinus is the design for a set of elemental staff. The items which the 4 members of the army back in the war had. So he's got fucking designs for them, which is wild. Why didn't Pablo write this down in this dimension? Who knows?
He actually couldn't read.
I know. They begin experimenting with it, and just like previously, but in this dimension, they create rifts instead of teleporters. So these rifts are like... I've made the worst approximation ever in this script, but I've written they're like Rick and Morty portals.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I getcha.
They figured out that these are essentially space-time rifts with connected various places and times. They experiment with these, so they're a bit more powerful than the teleporter in terms of the teleporter just being like a one-time like time or like teleportation thing. It's much more like you press random, but you can go to way further places.
Gotcha.
Wait, that does not sound helpful at all.
But because it's a rift, it's a doorway, so you can go back and forth, so it's stable.
Okay, right.
Relatively. They figured out that these were space-time rifts, they experiment with them, and a couple of events happening, ranging from weird to super dangerous. Primus Maxis, receives a message from Ultimus, Moon Pyramid, Samantha. This is the bit that I mentioned which started the whole rift thing. So Samantha's trapped in Agartha with her current dad. She reaches out to new dad.
Wait, what?
Reaching out to him after...
I'm actually following
I'm gonna
it,
read
guy.
this.
I'm following
I'm
it.
going to read this verbatim. Primus Maxis receives a message from Ultimus Samantha, reaching out after her dad, Space Station Electric Boy Corruptor Ultimus Maxis,
Yep.
reveals his nasty little plan for her and traps her in Agartha. I really should have done a second run of this script. I think I was getting salty at the people at this
I
point.
think.
His nasty little plan.
Okay, so okay.
His nasty little plan.
Was it okay?
Yes.
I have two things. Was it original dimension Samantha contacting new dimensions Maxis?
Yes.
Not the other way around. Okay.
No.
Okay. Cool. Was this when she was still in the Moon Pyramid? And
This is when she's been taken out by her dad and taken to Agartha, the heaven dimension against her will.
This is like modern day.
This is because remember I said that she reached out to Dimension 63 and I was like, let's do a Primus rundown.
Okay.
We're at that.
Okay, I thought
We're-
that was like before when she still had control of the Moon Pyramid.
No.
He appears to do very little with this information at the time being. Because one of the other things
Understandable.
is that the rift isn't like time linear. It's not like across. It goes to like random spots. So he opens up a dimension portal and sees his alternate dimension daughter go, help me. And he's like, oh, I'm going to have to do something about that at one point.
He's like, understandable. Have a nice day.
Yeah. Along with that, a mysterious box appears through one of the rifts, with the ability to manifest weapons through various time periods and possibly even dimensions. This is the mystery box, which is a staple of the series. For some reason, it just appears all over the place. Basically, it's just a box that you can put some money in and it gives you a random weapon. And that also explains why you can get like a 19th century rifle, or you can get a ray gun from the same box. It's a mystery dimension one. One of the other rifts,
That actually,
Undead Knights.
I actually think that's probably the thing that's made the most sense, which is so sad.
Fair enough. From the rift, Undead Knights also come through from the Great War because there were Undead Knights in that. Apparently revived due to the rifts rather than coming through them. Like the rifts being there provided dimensional energy, which made the because they were in France, that's where the Great War happened, and so that like juiced the knights to make them wake up. And I don't know.
They're more
They also
powerful portals, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, they also experiment with 115 some more, and they make some mechs, which you guys are going to appreciate. 4 of them, one of them is unnamed. The 3 named ones are called Freya, Odin, and Thor.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Wait, are we still in the Primus dimension?
yes.
Cool.
Yes.
So they have.
I had to take a moment.
Yeah, we're still in the Primus dimension, yes.
So the Primus dimension has big ass mechs.
Big ass, lots of cool tech. They don't have the teleporter, but they have rifts, and that kind of
And
makes
so
some
the
shit.
blood. So old Richtofen gave young Richtofen the blood, and then young-ish Richtofen has now given that same blood to Ultimus Richtofen.
No. Incorrect.
He's still got the
Alternate
blood.
dimension Richtofen got bust people's blood. He then took that through the dimensional rift to the other Richtofen.
Mm-hmm.
Old Richtofen has then given that to young Primus Richtofen.
And what did he
so
do
it's
with
gone,
that?
Nothing. He's still got
Okay,
it.
so it's gone from the people in the blood in the future
Main dimension
In the future.
to new dimension
to new dimension.
to young new dimension.
But when? What time
yeah.
period? Do we know?
That was in like early on. That was like 1917.
Why?
That was ages
Are we going to
ago.
get to why that happened?
Yeah.
Maybe if you'd let me fucking continue.
I'm just trying to follow this blood. I don't know what's happening.
Gross, disgusting. That's the thing you care about. I'm talking about fucking undead knights and mysterious bosses.
Yeah, but that kind of like makes sense. But the reason they just got these guys' blood together has never been explained.
We'll get
And
to
it's
it.
come up like
I'm sure
5
it'll make
times.
Continuing, by 1918, this timeline's version of Maxis is consumed by the voice of trapped Samantha and swears off his mission to 935, Group 935, the science research group. He says no. Unfortunately, those undead knights I mentioned are revived at around that time, and he gets eaten.
Oh, that's
By
unfortunate.
Maxis.
Primus Richtofen, so main one, takes out Primus Maxis's brain, saving it from being turned into an infected zombie, mind you. Good. And then, bad, puts it into a drone.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
doing
wouldn't
battle
mind
with
if
the
you guys
undead-
put me in a robot. If you could save my brain.
He doesn't seem very happy with it. Apparently, it's not a very good experience in terms of like going from a human body to like a cold drone. It's not a very well developed drone.
Oh
either.
well, if you put me in a shit robot, then I'll be. Yeah, if you use me to like cool your room or put me.
To be fair, he was about to die, so I think it's better than that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I wouldn't mind if you guys got my brain and put me in a robot. I would not mind if I was dying.
What if I got like a big industrial fan
No.
that's stuck in a warehouse and put you in that?
No, I would actually murder you somehow.
But Matt, you're my biggest fan.
After a battle with the undead knights that I mentioned, Primus, Tank, Nikolai, and Takeo and Richtofen, so that's this dimension's version of the Richtofen gang,
Yep.
which is him and a couple soldiers,
Yep.
help the Maxis drone to meet Samantha and Agatha. So, okay, we've got New Dimension, Richtofen, and his friends, plus Drone Maxis nearly got turned into a zombie, who is obsessed with Samantha. They help him meet Samantha, trapped in Agatha. This
So
dimension.
Agatha goes across all dimensions.
Yes, these are just multiple dimensions.
Okay, so Agatha like
So it's
exists
like
outside.
multiverse.
Agatha
multiverse,
isn't heaven. It
multiverse,
isn't.
Agatha.
It isn't like you have this dimension's Agatha. You have this dimension. It is a separate dimension. Under
Okay,
itself.
so you have the multiverse and you have Agatha and the Dark Alter dimension and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100% perfect.
So it's like having the multiverse in D&D and then having the Feywild as like one thing.
Correct.
A lot
yeah.
like that, yeah. Or like the ethereal, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, cool. They help him get to there by using a combination of the crazy place, which is where Maxis learned to turn into electricity ghost. Don't worry about it. The elemental staffs, which they redesigned, those giant robots, and also an interdimensional rift. This is also, as we'll note, where Primus is formed. Primus and Ultimus are the two groups of Richtofen and his little gang that go between dimensions.
Yeah.
So Ultimus is the old dimension version. Primus is this dimension's version, which, to remind you, is Richtofen, Tank Dempsey, Nikolai something, and Takeo something. I don't remember the last.
And what's the
names.
gang of the old dimension?
Old dimension's the exact same. They're just that dimension's version.
Oh,
of it.
okay.
Also, in that dimension, Richtofen kind of brainwashed them into helping him, whereas in this dimension, they're just all chill.
Isn't Richtofen also a zombie?
In the old dimension, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, when the uncorrupted Primus Maxis brain arrives in Agatha, so that's the drone, ends up in Agatha, Dr. Monty, who is the good keeper lord, like the leader of the good
Oh, they're
keepers,
back.
they steps in, and he wipes the corrupted Maxis from existence. So there's brain drone Maxis, and there's I just killed the entire planet to save me and my daughter Maxis.
Mm-hmm.
He fucking erases bad Maxis from reality.
Why couldn't he done that ages ago?
Who fucking knows? Who cares? Maybe it's because they're in Agartha and he's got more control.
Maybe.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's his land.
Anyway, he also recreates Maxis' human form, so he's no longer in a drone anymore.
Oh, nice.
He frees him from the drone and reunites him with Samantha. We'll get back to them later, as well as the boys from the Primus crew.
Nice.
Time to meet a whole new group
Oh,
of people.
fuck's sake.
Why?
We just got to do this Primus, guys. And the blood. What are you going to do with the blood?
Shh, shut the fuck up.
If that blood doesn't
The
come back,
Alcatraz
I'm gonna kill
boys. Hey, you want to hear about the Alcatraz boys?
Sure.
The short version, which I'll have to use, is that 3 prisoners from Alcatraz, Sal, Finn, and Billy, were convicted by and then kill another gangster called Al. He wanted to help them escape. It didn't go super well. They didn't trust him. They murdered him.
Yeah,
Soon
so-
after this, Primus Richtofen, New Dimension Richtofen, sneaks through a rift and takes more vials of blood from Sal and Finn. Those are 2 of the gangsters who killed the 4th one. The next year, all 3 of the gangsters that killed Al are sentenced to death by electric chair, die, and then end up in purgatory. In purgatory, they're in a version of Alcatraz where they have to fight waves of undead. 6 years later, Richtofen comes back to the pocket dimension. He meets the warden at Alcatraz and convinces the warden, because he's pretending to be a member of the Illuminati, which he was at one point, I'll remind you, very early on.
Wait, okay. Sorry.
Go. What?
These guys are dead.
Yes.
And
In
the
purgatory.
confirmed purgatory exists in this universe.
Yes.
Does
Yes.
that mean hell exists?
A form of
Does
purgatory.
that mean hell exists? Does that mean afterlife
Okay,
exists?
purgatory in this sense is more a usage of what purgatory stands for, which is the endless repetitive cycle, which is not necessarily... it's a version of hell in ways, but it's not necessarily like direct torture. It's like just an endless looping universe, kind of Groundhog Day-esque thing.
So every time you die, the level resets.
Correct.
It is the game.
How does that can collide with everything else we've been...
Well, because it's a multiverse theory, so they've just made like a little pocket multiverse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just get
Okay.
6 years later, he returns. He meets the warden at Alcatraz and convinces him, by acting as a member of the Illuminati, to build a lab underneath the prison. A year or so later, the lab's ready, and Richtofen has set up a bunch of stasis chambers, ready to receive whatever's coming to them. I'll remind you, there's a lot of weird timeline shit, so I'm just following it as it goes along.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
just linear timeline.
This
Richtofen isn't necessarily acting in a linear fashion, but I'm recalling it in a linear
This
fashion.
is Primus,
So if-
right?
Primus Richtofen, yes. So if things seem super crazy fucking weird with how people are doing things, it's just because that's the linear version of what they're doing. But once we get to the part where they do the thing that is the final thing, I'll explain.
Okay, sure.
Chill out. In 1941, Richtofen meets with Victus, bus people, at Alcatraz, who have been hopping a long time, running from undead Richtofen, and attempting to find a book called the Chronorium. What? Matt's
Just
laughing.
keep going. Just keep... That sentence should never have exist.
Mark this point in your mind, them finding the Chronorium, because we'll come back to it in a bit. This book shows the reader what they basically need to know and is like a super well of knowledge. Again, we've got another MacGuffin, baby. They couldn't resist it for long. When Richtofen reads the books, he discovers the fact that there are multiple timelines, as well as the purpose of the blood vials, which I'm not going to tell you.
You bastard.
At this point,
Also,
Richtofen...
Also, he already knew there was multiple timelines, surely.
Correct. Well, no, he knows now. This is still... Because you've got to remember, like, that Maxis was exposed to alternate reality Samantha, whereas he wasn't necessarily.
He just saw Samantha and Agartha.
He sort of... No, Maxis saw Samantha and Agartha. Richtofen isn't even aware of that.
I thought you said their whole team went there with...
Yeah.
That was the other dimension Richtofen. That
You
was
said
Ultimus.
both dimensions were there.
No, both dimensions Maxis was there.
But Ultimus Richtofen's the undead one.
Their version of Richtofen is, yeah.
Yeah. So the prime...
It's also not linear. It's not linear. This guy might have traveled back and forth in time.
Okay, cool.
I'm so sorry. There's only available resources are in linear time. I literally spent, I think, upwards of like 10 hours working on this script, and it still doesn't make any sense.
Just please keep going. Just put the final nail in me.
At this point, Richtofen delivers the vials of Finn and Sal's blood to his younger self, which is where he was delivering the blood. It wasn't Victus's blood. Linking back to the older one. He also recovers Victus's blood, which he'll need to try and save. He'll try and use to save Primus from stopping existing at some point. We'll get to it. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Let me continue. Until they're next needed, Victus are put into cryostasis
dead there
underneath
anyway,
Alcatraz.
so who cares?
Shut up. Until they're needed next, Victus are put into cryostasis. Also, no, they were on the moon at the time, so they didn't get blown up.
Oh, okay.
Shut up. Primus then arrives, which is Tank, Takeo, and Nikolai, to collect the Victus blood, which are the guys who are now frozen underneath Alcatraz. And Richtofen learns of the location of the summoning key, the artifact which was originally responsible for the creation of the entire multiverse.
Right.
This is the thing that the Keepers made to fuck around with the multiverse.
Yeah.
It's on Earth now. Where has Primus been during this? Wait, I just said Primus then arrives. Have I made a mistake? Okay, no. This is me asking where Primus has been in the intervening time before they arrived here. Samantha, after being reunited with not fucked up Maxis, sent them to the Ultimus universe to deal with Ultimus Richtofen, the undead version.
Right.
They have since then been doing some other things.
The undead version was the Primus.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Ultimus.
No, it wasn't. It was Ultimus.
Yeah.
Because Ultimus Richtofen got pulled out of the Moon Pyramid device and put in an undead body. Primus Richtofen's been doing all this good shit.
You're right.
Primus Richtofen is nice
You're
Richtofen.
right. Sorry.
That's fine. Since then, they've been doing some other shit. That's all I'm gonna say for now. We've got some other loose ends to tie up. I'm not gonna fucking bother, okay? Meanwhile, while this has all been going on, the Shadow Man, Dark Ether, the Apothecon from the start, has managed to escape the Dark Ether by himself, and has been working on recovering some artifacts to try and make a plan B for getting out of there, because Element 115 doesn't fucking... Element 115 sucks. With the help of a man called the Reporter, he's managed to track down the summoning key, which is the multiverse creation device. Intervening, Monty manages to write to the Reporter, warning him not to give the key to anyone, knowing that if the Shadow Man gets it, he gets control of the multiverse. The Shadow Man gets revenge by putting his fucking mind tentacles into a group of 4 people, which we'll get to in a sec. Stop it. Richtofen approaches the Reporter. This is Richtofen, who knows about the summoning key now. Knowing he has the key, but the Reporter has gone completely fucking crazy and attacks Richtofen. He kills the Reporter in self-defense, and then finds out that he can't access the key because somehow Shadow Man, Bad Keeper, has locked it in a box without being there until he can get there. So he sent like a magic seal or something to the Reporter and gone like, when you find the summoning key, just put it in this box and then close it up. I'll get it open when I'm there. So Richtofen can't get it open.
Yeah.
He has the summoning key, though. Pseudo. The 4 influence characters, which are the ones that Shadow Man got control of to take revenge for a certain thing. They're doing some juju. Are then reintroduced after being awakened. They find themselves in a twisted version of the city that they live in. They are tricked into doing rituals which sacrifices people close to them and allows the Apothecons, Bad Keepers, to access Dimension 63. This is Monty's backup plan. Not Monty. Monty's the good guy. This is the Shadow Man's backup plan.
Yeah.
Shadow Man's gone like, fuck you, I'm doing this myself. Let's grab these 4 people and make them sacrifice some people and do some rituals. Let's open up Dimension 63.
Yeah.
Realizing that he's been tricked, realizing that they've been tricked, the 4 influence people who did those things managed to capture the Shadow Man and then trap him inside the summoning key. So they suck him into the dimension. Shut the fuck up. At this point, Richtofen shows up again and steals the key.
Okay, so these Elder Gods have been proven they can just tap you and kill you, and these guys managed to trap him? Which Richtofen as well.
Weren't they under the mind control?
Yeah, they're also under
Shadow
mind control
guy?
of this guy.
But they realize they've been tricked.
How
They
do you
managed to get out
realize
of
you've
it.
been tricked when you're under mind control?
Slapped themselves out of it.
Snap out of it. Come on, guys. You can do this. They fucked it up anyway. Richtofen stole
Which
the key.
Richtofen?
Yeah.
Primus.
The good
But it's
one.
okay, we want him to have
Yeah.
the key. He's the good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he steals it, though.
Yeah, but
He's
he's got
good,
the
he's
key.
good
We
though.
wanted him to have the key.
After this, Richtofen uses the summoning key to go to a whole new dimension, another
Why?
one again, which is a different timeline, so that he can steal the soul of an innocent Richtofen.
Why?
That's all the detail we get on it for
This
the time
man
being.
was good.
In the dimension where Shadow Man just got tricked into going to the summoning key, etc., etc., etc. That's Dimension 63. The Apothicons are released in that dimension, and they fucking annihilate Dimension 63. Dimension 63 is gone. You don't have to think about
Oh.
it again.
Rip.
Wait, okay. You're gonna say this.
So hang on. Okay, so the 4 people won. They sealed away the shadow guy.
Yes.
Richtofen comes in. He steals the shadow key.
Yes.
And then the
he then fucks off
Apothicons-
to another
Okay.
dimension.
And does that
But-
release the Apothicons?
No, the Apothicons were already released. So once the
Right.
Shadow Man's already made the guys do the rituals and shit and fucked around with it.
Yeah.
They've already released the Apothicons. The gate was opening, but as they were doing that, they summoned Richtofen. But
Yeah,
the Apothicons
gotcha,
are now there, and they
gotcha,
just
gotcha.
fucking yeet the entire dimension.
Old
Cool.
Richtofen, the zombie one, is still around.
Yes. In the other dimension, yes.
So 63. Does anyone we know from 63 get out other than Prime Richtofen?
I think that Dimension 63, Primus, as in Tank, Nikolai, and Takeo managed to get out. I think Maxis
already
from
out.
that dimension is now in Agartha.
Yeah, he's already out.
Yeah. He's done.
And Richtofen is now out.
So what you're telling me?
Otherwise, the whole dimension's dead.
So what you're telling me is we have to learn a new fucking dimension again.
No. That new dimension, they basically just steal a baby Richtofen. I'll get to it later.
Okay.
They just steal a baby.
Meanwhile in Agartha, shut the fuck up. Meanwhile in Agartha, Dr.
Yep.
Monty in Agartha has taken Samantha away for some time, and now, relatively now, returns her to Maxis with all the effects of the Dark Aether stripped away from her. So he basically took her away, give her a scrub, give her back to Monty without, gave her back to Maxis, her dad, without any of this bad stuff. They are from 2 different dimensions, but they are still father and
Okay.
daughter.
By the way, when she went to that dimension, she was in Richtof's body because she had the soul.
No, because she got pulled out of the.
It was just
they
her
pulled her
soul.
soul in there, so she's now manifested into a physical form.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, I was like, is she
Cool.
still in Richtof's body?
No. Come here, little baby. Oh, yes. Our father, I love you so much.
I was very creeped out by that.
Thank you, Father. Yes.
Anyway, so they've taken all that out. Unfortunately, the universe is still broken. There's a multiverse paradox that needs to be resolved because they've got characters going back and forth.
I'm so sorry. This has to be said. If Samantha was still in Richtofen's body, she 110% just catfished her own dad from another dimension.
Yeah, that's true.
Help me, Daddy! Comes into the other dimension, sees Richtofen. Oh, for fuck's sake!
Roasted. After this, okay, the multiverse paradox is still around, and it needs to be resolved in order to create a universe free of the Apothicons. How those two things relate, I'm uncertain, and I'm not going to look any further into it.
I think that's your job. That's literally the job description for you to look further into it.
I did so much work to get this much information into this script. I'm not going to bother doing it on a point this minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say I think we're about 2 hours in at this point.
Listen, I'm on page 14 out of 18. You've got to stick with me for a little bit longer.
Just go. Just go.
Okay, they need to resolve it. In order to do this, they need the souls who lived through the fracturing of the universe. That's how they're going to fix the multiverse. So these are the people who've been fucking around. So that's Richtofen, that's Ultimus, that's the Dempseys and Takeo and the soldiers and the Richtofens. Cool? Including Undead Richtofen.
Yeah.
It's a very cute comic scene, which I might put on socials, which is of Undead Richtofen sitting next to a campfire with a bunch of other people sitting around him, and he's just sitting there like, oh. Anyway. Because they had to bring him back. As background for this, Maxis has been living in the house, which is a residence in Agartha. That's it. The house is like the heaven, whatever the fuck, the big palace. While Samantha was taken from him, he observed Dr. Monty and begun using the teleporter in the basement, which is in the house, to start observing the multiverse. He's essentially learning how to become one of the keepers without being a keeper.
Right.
In doing so, he discovered the empty Earth, a reality in when life was unstable, Yet, where another version of Maxis had created the Zero Base, which is a place that houses artifacts. So at some point in this dimension's timeline, everyone just fucking zooped, and there's no one on this planet.
Wait, were there ever people on the planet? Because you said life is unstable.
I think there was... this is a little bit confusing, because I remember this bit. I think that there's a confusion, at least in the writing, where it either is a previous version of Maxis has come here and made a base, or it's this version of Maxis in traveling through the multiverse has made a little base here. I don't know. Maxis has a base on the empty Earth. There's no one else there. It's another dimension.
Sick.
In doing so, he does this. He houses a whole bunch of artifacts there, including the Chronorium, which is super book. After studying in there, he has Samantha return to him and explains to Monty that he can create a universe free of apothicons, but he needs the help of the souls who witnessed and survived the fracturing. So again, this is why we're gathering the souls of those who survived the fracturing of the universe, because Maxis reckons that he can make a clean universe without the apothicons if he has those people who were there for the fracturing to power some... Are you with me?
Sure. Not even close.
Matt just shook his head.
Not even close, but...
We're fine. Maxis shares his plan with Primus Richtofen, Dimension 63, which is to acquire the summoning key and the Chronorium. This is why Richtofen's been running around trying to get the summoning key and stuff. In planning this acquisition, Richtofen realizes that he has a connection with Stuhlinger, one of the members of Victus. That's the 4 people on the bus.
Yeah.
Cool. If you remember, one of the 4 people on the bus was a member of the Flesh, who had a connection to undead Richtofen. For some reason, that means that he now has a connection to Primus Richtofen.
Right.
You okay? What's up? What do you need refreshing on? Come on.
Did they die because they took their blood?
No, they got frozen in Alcatraz. That's in a pocket dimension.
Didn't they go to purgatory?
They're in a pocket dimension. What's wrong with it? They can come back. It's just a multiverse.
They died.
They didn't die. No. That's not Victus.
That was the prisoners.
That was the prisoners.
Okay, sure.
There's the 4 prisoners of Alcatraz. They went to purgatory. Victus got frozen in the basement of Alcatraz.
That makes more sense. Okay, sure.
It doesn't, but that's fine. So, he now realizes he has a connection with Stuhlinger, who's the guy who's eating zombie flesh, and the link to Richtofen has to his mind through Ultimus Richtofen, which is now undead Richtofen still exists. So he's connected to this member of the Flesh. Richtofen sends Victus to get the Chronorium, as they have to head to the empty Earth to do so. When trying to gain access, they have to provide blood to do so, in order to prove that they have souls or something. The Victus is giving out more blood.
Right.
That's how they get into the empty Earth. There's a whole thing. There's a whole mini-verse. There's a whole thing. They go to the empty Earth where Maxis has been gathering a bunch of stuff, nick the Chronorium out of his lab, and yeet back again. They then get the Chronorium, linking back to the bit that I said to mark in your mind where Richtofen reads the thing and then realizes a whole bunch of shit and where the summoning key is and all that sort of stuff. Because Richtofen went off in a massive tirade and stole the summoning key and a bunch of other stuff after these people from Victus showed him the Chronorium, and he went, "Oh, I know what I have to do now." This is them going and getting the book and coming back to Richtofen.
I do see how there's no good way to tell this story.
Precisely, it's such shit. Undead Richtofen ends up with the vials of blood that they gave to get into the empty Earth. I don't know how. Which is what he gives Richtofen back in the undead bit. This is where Richtofen gets the 4 vials of blood from Victus.
Yeah, it's all coming back. All the blood.
It's all coming back, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, remember the bit where I said Richtofen has to steal a baby?
Yep.
We're back at that again. This is belonged to a child version of Richtofen called Eddie. They call him Eddie because Richtofen's full name is Edward Richtofen. So,
Yeah.
which is a very Anglo name for. I mean, he's Anglo, he's German, but still, Edward's.
Yeah,
Edward.
I get what you mean.
It's got a W in it. I mean, yeah. I mean, wunderbar. Yeah. Anyway.
Seems like the
Semantics.
least most important thing here.
I'm trying to grasp onto something that I can actually think about without hurting myself. It's fine. So he's now got a child version of himself called Eddie. An innocent soul. Someone who hasn't lived through any of this.
Yeah, he's a fucking baby.
He's not a full baby. He's like a 8-year-old. Richtofen also collects the young souls of the rest of the Primus group. He's got child versions of Tank, Nikolai, and Takeo.
That can never go. This is never going to go well.
They all end up in Agartha with Samantha. So there's the 5 children now. There's Samantha, Richtofen, Tank, Takeo, and Nikolai.
There's 6 children.
Yeah.
5.
5.
I
Samantha.
just counted them out on my
Rick
fingers.
Offen, Tank.
Samantha, and then the 4 members of
Yeah.
the gang.
I thought there was 4 members of Victus.
Yeah,
no,
and then
this
there's
is
one
Vi-
Samantha. What the
What
fuck?
about Richtofen?
This isn't.
Rick Toffin is one of the 4 members.
This is the 4 team members from the start. Tank, Nikolai, the other one whose name I forget. and
You're
Rick
thinking of the 4 from the bus. That's a different group entirely.
They were
Offen.
called
Victus is the
Victus.
bus. No, that is Victus, but he didn't say Victus.
I didn't
is the
say
people
Victus in
Agartha.
this.
Okay.
God, Matt, keep up.
Shut up. He collects them in a fracturing universe where events
Yep.
play out slightly differently. So,
Yep.
now, because those children are in Agartha, they are a younger version of each of these characters.
Yep.
And through doing that, the 4 people, Richtofen, Tank, Nikolai, and the other one, I can't fucking be bothered, Takeo,
Okay.
now have no
Yeah.
souls.
Okay.
Because the children have essentially taken priority queue off them and have nicked their souls.
Okay. Awesome.
Sorry,
Sure.
that is ridiculous. Wait, does that mean that no souls?
So
So
they have no-
in the entire multiverse, that none of them have souls anymore.
I don't know. The ones that are there don't have souls.
Yep. Awesome.
The
Continue.
children
I
have the
don't
souls
know.
of the
I don't
people,
know.
Yep.
of the
I don't know.
adults.
I was thinking. I don't know if it reflects worse on me or worse on you that you're keeping up with this and I'm not, Jude.
Probably better on me.
I don't know if that's true.
Okay, they now, the adult versions of these 4, of Primus,
Yep.
which is Richtofen, Texan, Nikolai, and yeah,
Yep. Yep.
bring the submarine key acquired by Richtofen to the house.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Maxis, who is also in the house, unintentionally fucks around with the key and releases the Shadow Man in Agartha, who in turn opens up a gateway into Agartha for the Apothicons.
Ah.
So everything's just gone to shit real quick. Primus fights alongside Maxis in the new fucked up Fractured Agartha,
Yep.
which is a really cool zombies map if you get a chance to look at it. I think it's called Fractured. I'm not certain. You can find it. Fight alongside this in a Fractured Agartha. They have no souls, and once they finish the fight and defeat the Apothicons, supposedly they will be erased from existence.
Yeah, what does it mean to have no soul? Yeah, guy, answer
means
that
that
question.
It means that their souls have been taken by the children.
Uh-huh. So, are
So-
they still people? Are they still personalities? Are they empty?
Yeah, they're still themselves. They're just
What do they lose, guy? What does any of this
They all-
mean?
none of them have belly buttons. You can't prove me wrong.
Ah!
Anyway, so at the end of the fight, they're supposed to just disappear from reality because the whole of the universe is supposed to fix itself, and Primus is just gonna vanish.
Why?
But at the end of the fight, they defeat the Apothicons, some fucking how, and they just don't disappear. You want to know how?
No.
At the start of the fight, they each consumed the blood that they collected from Victus, the guys who are now frozen
Right.
in the thing.
Wait, so
and-
they're their own blood?
No.
'Cause aren't they Victus?
No,
No.
this isn't Victus, Matthew. This is the other
This is
people.
Primus.
This is
You know how
Primus.
many
team.
group of 4 people there are in this universe?
Do you know how many groups of 4 they need to play a 4-player video game mode? You're gonna get
Yeah.
confused with the fucking actors next, Matt?
Yeah, fucking George
Huh.
Romero's gonna come back.
George Romero
So-
wasn't one of the playable 4 characters. You got that wrong again.
Yeah.
So,
honestly.
they consumed the blood of the 4 people who are now trapped
Yeah.
in the basement of Alcatraz, the 4 people
Yeah.
who were traveling on the bus, who were on the ruined Earth.
Yep, they consume Victus.
Why?
They consume their blood.
Why is their blood special?
My understanding, which may be wrong, is that because the multiverse has been reset to such a degree where the Apothicons have been defeated, the Victus team doesn't exist anymore. Because the Apothicons never ruined Earth.
Yeah.
They never did that. So Victus's souls, the energy, their ticket to exist, have just been inherited by the 4 members of
Right.
there. So they took their souls out, gave them to the kids. They then consumed Victus's blood, got new souls.
Yeah, so if I drink
Awesome.
your blood, I get your soul.
Shut the fuck up.
So are they vampires?
As
No.
such, their souls now belong to the Primus group, which does make
Yeah.
them an anomaly as the souls don't exist anymore, but it lets them exist, which means they don't disappear. So, they just cheated death, essentially.
Yes.
Discovering this, Dr. Monty wants to get rid of them, since they're a massive paradox and definitely shouldn't be here anymore. Richtofen suggests that he can send them somewhere new, where they can't cause any damage and can spend their time doing more good, quote unquote.
So, okay.
Mm.
The book thing
Yes.
taught
Richtofen.
Richtofen, because someone sent him the book. Victus
Victus found the
gave
book,
it to
yes.
Richtofen. Richtofen then told himself, who got
Yes.
the blood from the Primus dimension, then
Yes.
gave that blood to his older self, then
Yes.
that gave that blood to his younger self.
Yes.
And then they've been holding the blood, and then he learned how to do it. He learned after he had this all blood.
Correct,
This
yes.
is just
Yes.
a fucking loop.
And at the end of it was all just so that when they reset the entire universe and got rid of the Apothicons, that they wouldn't disappear with the rest of the universe.
Yeah, they could survive. Yeah,
Cool? Are you alright,
I like
Matt?
it. Yep.
No, not
Yeah.
you, Jude. I know you're okay. You're fine. I trust you. Matt's the baby I have to swaddle.
Matt, I'll be
here.
honest, you just can't think
Just
about
because
it too
I
much.
just-
Just take the words.
Okay, reset. Where we currently are, we're at the reset of the universe. The Apothicons
Yeah,
have
I know,
been
I get
erased,
what's
and the
happening. I just don't get the
team
logic
should have
behind
been
it.
erased. Shut the fuck up. So, Monty says that he wants to remove them. Richtofen says, hey, send us somewhere where we can't cause any more damage. Send us
Yeah.
somewhere that it doesn't matter. You send us. Monty decides
Hell.
to send them to the Great War.
Ah.
And they're the 4 people.
Monty sends them to the Great War, continuing the cycle since Pablo writes about them and their usage of the elemental staves. They are the 4 knights who saved Pablo going back.
but
Yeah.
they're not.
We're back,
From the
baby.
very
But they're
start.
not.
The very...
What do you mean
That
they're
dimension
not?
got erased.
No, that one of the dimensions got
What
erased.
do you mean?
Dimension 63 got deleted. The Ultimus dimension, the main dimension.
He didn't write it down in the Ultimus dimension.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. That's not anything that
The
matters.
entire universe just got reset, and you're
It's still-
nitpicking of
in
that.
the
Yeah.
universe, we didn't write it down. It still happened. It just didn't get written
They're
down.
looping
Yeah,
through.
yeah,
you
awesome.
can't
So
can't
they-
end your fucking series on a time loop if you blow up the dimensions.
You want to know the best bit, Matt? It doesn't finish.
No,
yet.
fuck's
This isn't the
sake.
end.
How far are we from that?
Richtofen realizes that Monty has no intention of actually creating a better tomorrow. He realizes that Monty's plan this entire time hasn't been trying to make anything better, since this is the start of loop again. He's like, wait a second, you just sent us back again. All he's doing is he's looping the universe in its current state. He's found a stable loop where he can send them back, and then this whole thing starts again. And when 115's found in dimension there, that opens up other things. The undead come, the Moon Pyramid device, that all happens. It ends up in this massive craze. They destroy the Apothicons, and then they go back to the start.
He's like a rich white man. He wants to
Nice.
keep the status quo.
Yeah.
So Richtofen's essentially realized, hang on a second, that's not really right. I've been purgatory. It's not great. This is not what you should do to us. Cuts it there. And so he's like, hang on, Monty's not actually the good guy. This final bit. Okay, we've got 3 more pages. There is, and I will also mention, there is more to this that's come up in the later games. If people want to fucking lecture me about it, I'm not going to do it. It's too complicated. It's not well enough written on the wiki page. You can go shove a fork up your ass. I don't care. I would rather sit
Don't shove a fork up
On
your
it.
ass.
on a big spiky thorn than try and do this more. I'd rather wear a clown mask to work.
No one's
I work
going
in
to
a
question
hospital
you,
now.
guy. We are not a popular enough podcast if you have people going to
I
question.
don't know. Someone one day will. And when that day comes, I want them to look in the mirror at themselves and ask themselves if their limited time on this earth, this one life that we get, if you have the time in your life to actually put the effort into lecturing me about this and know that on the other side of whatever you're lecturing, whatever message you're sending me, I want you to know that on the other side of it, I don't fucking care.
Guy will
Okay.
leave.
Shut
Guy-
the
Guy
fuck
will
up.
leave you on red.
Guy.
He's done it before.
Guy,
Yeah? What?
please, can we just do these last 3 pages?
We're still got 3
Breaking the cycle.
pages.
It's 3 pages. Shut up. Okay, we'll be quick. Breaking the cycle. 1294, Great War, final time. Richtofen, realizing what has to be done, decides to work with Pablo, another key in the loop, and the rest of Primus to break the loop. Richtofen and Primus, with the help of Pablo, manage to make an escape through the space-time rift, which has been created again, that's back there again, and travels to the Purgatory, where the gangsters are, in Alcatraz, which I mentioned before.
Yep.
Richtofen has changed from Primus Richtofen to post-war Richtofen.
Yeah.
That's what we're calling him now. This is like the pinnacle version of him.
Yeah, gotcha.
Before he leaves, he gives Pablo the elemental gem from the Staff of Fire. He snaps that off, gives it to him. Alcatraz Purgatory. The warden at Alcatraz was under the influence of the Shadow Man the whole time. Under his instruction and brainwashing, he instructed to kill the 3 men who killed Al Arlington. So there's Al and then there's the other 3. He was instructed to kill them. This was in order to create a purgatory pocket dimension, which I mentioned earlier, which the Shadow Man intended to trap Richtofen in. The warden did so, followed by himself, in order to continue to guard them all. Each time while in there, the 3 gangsters, Sal, Billy, and Mitchell, all kill Al and continue the purgatory cycle. They keep going over and over and over again, because they can't remember each cycle. So Sal, Billy, and Mitchell will continue killing them and continue this purgatory. That's the motor that's sustaining this little purgatory dimension, which the Shadow Man intends to trap Richtofen in because he keeps fucking with his plans.
Yeah.
Okay. If and when Al manages to kill the other 3, this is the one that's being murdered by 3 gangsters, manages to kill the other 3, they're all released and they can wander Alcatraz as freed souls. At this point, they'd be free, but they don't do that. It's purgatory.
Yeah.
Another version of Primus arrives in the prison, finding Richtofen waiting for them. This mystery Richtofen, so there's 2 Richtofens again. I don't know why there is. Don't ask me. I'm not going to explain it. Stated that they're late before handing off vials of blood from Victus. Again, more blood vials.
We're late. Sorry,
tells
we're
the-
late. What do you mean?
He tells this version of Richtofen to also read the Chronorium again. This is him trying to break the cycle. Read the Chronorium again, because this time you're going to have a different goal in mind. Before heading off through another rift. Current Primus Richtofen does so, and realizes that the timeline has changed. Attempting to leave, this group is stopped by the Warden, who smashes their escape rift and traps them in the Purgatory dimension, just like they wanted to.
Yeah.
He wants Richtofen's soul, since the Shadow Man wants Richtofen's soul, because Richtofen's traveled through a bunch of interdimensional portals, and that's apparently infused his soul with energy. Enough energy that this is another way that the Shadow Man can try and release the Apothicons.
Awesome.
So Richtofen himself is now a MacGuffin.
He's been through a lot of
After
portals.
a very convoluted series of events involving the bird ghost of Al Arlington, the guy who kept getting murdered, he's now a bird ghost, as well as the spirits of Sal, Billy, and Finn, who hold back the Warden, who is now a super zombie. They all hold him back from taking Richtofen's souls, and current Primus Richtofen, so a different Richtofen who doesn't have quite as juicy a soul, sacrifices himself to a machine called the Dark Mechanism, which, since he's a little bit less juicy, won't release the Apothicon, but will let them out of the pocket dimension.
Gotcha.
Hell. Basically, it's a long and convoluted thing to say that there was a very innocent Richtofen, who no one thinks deserved it, sacrificed himself so that everyone could get out of
Purgatory.
the Purgatory.
Yeah.
During this, they also discovered cryo chambers in the facility, thaw them out, and reveal post-war Richtofen, who is clad in armor, as well as the other members of Victus. This is the people who are also actively trying to break out of the loop, who have frozen themselves,
Yeah. Yeah, because Victus were frozen in there ages ago.
but they've now swapped out
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
Richtofen and others from the Great War.
Oh, so Primus from the Great War, you mean?
Yes, post-war is now what they call it, but yes.
Yeah.
Damn, you're holding on really well. He gives the Chronorium to Nikolai, saying that he needs to keep his soul in order to defeat Dr. Monty. Nikolai, at this point in the time, has no fucking idea who this is. It's another Nikolai.
Different one.
Post-war Richtofen shares with his current dying Richtofen, the one who sacrificed himself so they could all get out of purgatory, that the cycle is now broken, and takes the summoning key off him. He also says he's not sorry for what's happening, which is very, very sad, because this Richtofen who is dying on the machine didn't deserve any of this. So basically, post-war, in armor, I'm going to break the cycle Richtofen is getting the other Richtofen and basically lecturing him, taking all this shit off him, including the vials of blood from Victus, the summoning key, and also just says, fuck you, basically.
Yeah.
This dimension closes, and that Richtofen, which is one of the ones that was perpetuating the cycle, just dies. Just gone.
Yep.
It's mentioned a lot that this is hard going for it because he's done nothing wrong at this point. So everyone on the forums is like, oh, poor Richtofen. But at this point, I was just trying to keep my head above water, man. They're all sitting on little boys just going like, oh, man, that sucks for this Richtofen. I'm like, who the fuck? Who?
I think I've already drowned. I
Private.
got drowned about
So
30
now-
minutes ago.
There's one Richtofen. Primus and Ultimus in the new loop. So that's the Tank, Nikolai, and Takeo. Those 3 from both dimensions meet up as a group of 6
Yep.
with post-war Richtofen. They head to a place called Camp Edward, where Broken Arrow, which is the American group, have a base. There's an AI called Rushmore who helps the group with some shenanigans involving transferring a guy out of an asteroid, and an American replication of the Moon Pyramid device, and also an electric ghost called Avogadro. Avogado.
Avogado, probably. Yeah.
Regardless, what they do is that they grab the elemental shard that I think Pablo had.
The fire one, yeah.
The fire one. They get that. They get the last piece of multiverse text. That's something that came from Interdimension. That's something they needed to clean up. There's something. I don't fucking know. They had to get another thing that they needed to clean up the multiverse. They're trying to undo a bunch of stuff, basically.
Another MacGuffin. Here we go.
They finish up at Camp Edward, but as they do, Maxis contacts them saying it's too late. Maxis then teleports Eddie, young Eddie, and Samantha out of the Agarthan house before Maxis is eaten by Dr. Monty. It's a very vivid video of him doing this. And because Dr. Monty is now turned into the bad guy because he's angry that they're trying to break the cycle that he's managed to perpetuate. So basically, post-war Richtofen, wearing suit of armor, being very cool, and the two sides of Tank, Nikolai, and Takeo are working together to try and undo the loop. Maxis is like, fuck, Monty's onto us, sends the kids out, and then gets eaten by Dr. Monty, who is now the bad guy, because he doesn't like them trying to unwrap the neat loop that he's made. Which is exactly what they're trying to do. After they've wrapped
The
this
kids
all
are still in heaven, right?
No, they got kicked out, because Dr. Monty is now very angry
Makes
at them.
sense.
After this, the group settles down in the forest. They talk about future victory, and they talk about some other stuff. He tells them about the ordeal and the apothecons and they all discuss all this sort of stuff. But at this point, because of how they're wrapping up the timeline, these are all just legends from the Chronorium. He's saying they're all just fake. Don't worry about it. They're trying to make stuff muddled and clean it up from the previous loops. Unfortunately, he also lets them know that Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man, that both ended up being corrupted by the Dark Ether in this point in the timeline because of how they're wrapping things up. Things have gone differently in this time loop, and Dr. Monty is also now a bad guy.
He was already a bad guy.
Gotcha.
He's now corrupted
He's
bad
worse. Great.
Yeah.
Nikolai then asks them if they can think of anywhere they want to go next. Some of them want to go home to their families, a variety of answers. But unfortunately, none of them get to do this, as all but Primus Nikolai, one of the Nikolais, are killed.
Oh.
Nikolai, in this version of time, kept his souls, and all of the other ones, because of how they'd been wrapping it up and how the universe got reset and all that sort of shit, don't have any souls. Primus Nikolai is the only one who has one at this point. I don't know why. Please help me. Send help.
Drank some blood.
They all had died. So, Nikolai in this version killed all of them because they had to kill them to bring the cycle to an end, because these soulless versions of them were perpetuating the cycle.
Right. Gotcha.
So Nikolai's like...
The last one. He has to shank them all.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Nikolai, in this version, kept his soul. Ultimus Richtofen does come back as undead Richtofen, because there was already a soul... There was an undead soulless version of him, so he's just a shell, just a little boy. And with that, Nikolai contacts Victus...
Going back to the
Bus
bus
people.
boys. Yep.
through undead Richtofen,
Yep.
getting them back from their cryopods in Alcatraz.
But that universe
Why?
was
So
destroyed.
now they're back
that universe
again.
was
So, to
that
wrap,
universe was destroyed though.
we have one undead Richtofen, we have Primus Nikolai, who has a soul, everyone else in that group is dead. They also have...
But the entire point was why they had souls, because they were all getting eliminated from the universe.
Yes. The unfortunate part about this bit is, and me leaving you in a spin, is that this is where we're at in the current point in the video games. Primus Nikolai has just killed everyone,
Yeah.
and there's undead Richtofen, and they've contacted Victus, and they're planning to do something else to continue finishing up the cycle. But that's where we're at. I'm also just inept as a researcher, and I don't want to go through the Black Ops Cold War 2. I don't know, what's fucking Cold War. I don't want to go through the Cold War zombie stuff. Richtofen and Nikolai are trying to break the cycle. So it's Undead Richtofen and Nikolai and Primus Nikolai trying to get the cycle of the universe cut. And they're trying to do it with the help of the ghost form of Pablo, from what I understand.
Fuck yeah.
He comes in later. He comes in soon. It's a mess. I don't know when I want to do the next wrap-up of this. Maybe if they put a cap on the zombie series, which I sincerely doubt they're going to do.
Nah.
I will put it into it. But this is where I got up to. This is the point of the timeline that I could even vaguely cohesively get up to.
I never want to do this
This is the
again.
most effort I've ever put into a topic, and this is where I'm at.
I love it. Thank
Question. I have a question.
Yes. Yes, I will answer your question.
So you said when they fucked the timeline,
Yes.
the Elder Gods changed. So
Yes.
they are affected by time. Because I thought earlier they existed
Yes.
outside of time, and that's why they had the universe like the Darkhold and the and heaven that existed outside the multiverse and outside of
So-
time.
There are universes, and each of those have their own timeline. Each of those timelines that we covered in this episode made up a part of the loop. The loop is the big overarching stable thing that Dr. Monty was able to implement, where the Apothicons come and start invading. They come up through time. Nikolai,
But I thought the heaven
Richtofen
and
creates
hell
the
exist
teleporter.
outside of time.
Agatha. Yes, but it's still part of the overarching timeline. It's still part
So
of
it's
the
still
loop.
in time.
Think of it this way.
Yes.
Matt, think of it this way. Here's the whole timeline, and then inside it, there's lots.
You
of
can't have
mini
time looping inside
timelines.
another time loop.
Yes,
Why
you can.
not?
In this
Why
one,
not?
you can.
Fuck's sake.
So they've reset. They're back at the thing, but they're starting to try and wean off a bunch of stuff. They're trying to get rid of the teams that perpetuate the loop. They're trying to make all the bad guys into myths, but also a sort of other bits and pieces. They're fucking it all up. So as part of that, Monty has now become a bad guy. He was originally a good guy. He
Yeah,
was giving
yeah.
them cola. He wasn't
a good. He wasn't a
guns and
good
stuff.
guy, but he was a.
Well, no, none of them are good guys. Richtofen's a German fucking Nazi soldier, so.
Yeah. True. Thank you. I get it. I not much, but I get
It's
it.
not something that in my head I think you're supposed to understand the whole of, but I think
No,
that there are
you
parts of
understand
it that you
loose-
can
yeah.
go. Like if I went, oh, the Alcatraz bit, and you're like, oh, the Purgatory where they have to kill each other and there's
Yeah.
there's bits and pieces there.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's bits and pieces which when you look at a map, you'd be able to go like, oh, I know where this map kind of happens in the timeline.
Yeah.
I feel like
I get you.
I am simultaneously blessed and cursed with this knowledge. That I had to I feel like my brain will never be the same after that. But also, if someone ever asked me at a party, can you explain the COD zombies timeline? I'm like,
You'll say no.
I'm the man for you. No, but I will be able to. Anyone have the most confusing story they want to tell? Yes, this is it. I have the most confusing story in the world.
We start off with a man trying to teleport peanuts.
What you do, Matt? If someone asks you about the COD Zombies timeline, you go, "Well, I can't explain, but I've heard of this really great podcast called Living by the Law. Check us out on social media at Living by the Law Podcast."
Yeah, and you know what? If you're listening to this and you got all the way to the end, you are a god. But
Somehow.
also, check us out on Facebook and Twitter at Living by the Law. Additionally, if you want to get in contact with us, message us on Facebook or email us at livingbylaw@gmail.com.
And if you want to self-plug at the same time, you should say to that person at the party, hey, if you're looking for stuff like that, you should check out my iTunes review. I write really good iTunes reviews. And in amongst there's a 5-star review for Living by the Law that you should check out. I think that's one of my greatest pieces of works. I got a Pulitzer for
You
that.
should.
You hear about
And
that?
if you don't, go onto iTunes right now after listening to this episode and rate us 5 stars on iTunes. I'm gonna send
13
13.
13 Nikolais, 10 Richtofens, and a Maxis zombie ghost
And
electric
half
man.
of them might be in little girls' bodies. You never know.
And 3 of them might have no souls and have drunk other people's blood to steal their soul, I think.
On the note of reviews, because we're kind, shout out to Dragon Poos, who left us a very lovely
Thank you,
review.
Dragon
and it
Poos.
was actually in the midst of the shenanigans that broke up this episode, seeing that review sparked the conversation of, when are we going to get back to recording that?
Wait,
So,
have you got your mic back from Australia
I'm
yet,
gonna
Matt?
no, I haven't actually got it yet. No, I'm gonna simultaneously. That is half the episode responsibility of getting this episode done is to Dragon Poos. Thank you, Dragon Poos.
Yeah, thanks, Dragon.
yeah. I really never thought I'd say that sentence in my life. But
Hey, we're proving to people that we, as much as we're like, do the reviews, we hate you if you don't do the like, we
love
appreciate it. Thank you for listening if you do.
So anyway, we're back, baby.
Baby!
We're back. Not that any of us are happy about it. Oh, I had so many peaceful weeks. Oh, I could sleep. I could rest.
Now,
The thoughts of this podcast did not plague me.
I don't need sleep. I need lore.
Yes.
I need
I
answers.
need answers.
Anyway.
What happened to Nikolai?
Well, thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.
Have a good night.
Good morning.
Bye.
Good morning.
I don't. Hopefully.
Hi, Richtofen.
Good morning, Richtofen. How are you
Fuck's
going?
sake.
Guten Morgen, Richtofen.
Just little girl. I mean, old man, like, in an old version, old man body, like, Samantha's really good, but I think, like, little girl Richtofen's even better. What do you want to do today, sweetie? I want to make a teleporter that makes zombies.
Thank you for listening to Living by the Law. If you enjoyed our podcast, please leave us a review on iTunes and tell your friends. The link is in the description, and thank you in advance. Also, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Living by the Law to keep updated on all the latest about our podcast. We have been, and always will be, living by the law. Thank you for your company, and good night.